get an opportunity for, most importantly, black type and big prize money here for the Royal Randwick Stakes. $500,000 race. Let's have a look at the market for race number 3 here. And, well, the Golden Slipper's the key form reference for some of those, except for the favourite. Shalmari is the favourite at 3.7.
Memorial's been solid, 4 to 4.20. Why Grit? Well, it got out to 9.50, and I just think that...
Red missed the start, went straight back to last. Eloping out wide, came out fast, and Oakley Girl down to the inside was away well. Sultry Feeling in between them, running third, followed by Queen of Kariba. Egret's so eloping straight away. Oakley Girl tracking it up as they run to the 6.50, then Sultry Feeling and Egret getting a good run back along the fence. Then Queen of Kariba, followed by Amicus and Shamari. Back behind them next, Clifton Red Aero Bar, and Memorial still near the rear and out pretty wide as they run around the home turn, where Oakley Girl's moving out after eloping, leads about a half a length down, then Sultry Feeling, followed by Egret, Queen of Kariba. Shamari's hooked wide. It's eloping being challenged by Oakley Girl, and then coming through the centre, Egret, followed by Sultry Feeling. Shamari still making ground down the outside. They haven't got this leader yet. Eloping's in front. Egret trying to chase it. Shamari down the outside, but Eloping is hanging on, and Eloping goes down to win it. Eloping beats Egret and Shamari, followed by Clifton Red, and then came Amicus, Oakley Girl, followed by Sultry Feeling. Memorial never got in the race. Queen of Kariba and Aero Bar was a long last.
Well, she got the 1,200 at 3 eloping. She was going to be the leader.
A great job, Pete and Craig have done for you.
Pete, Craig, and the entire...
Shamari, followed by...
Well done to Peter Morgan and Craig Widdowson with a brilliant job they've done with this horse. Eloping has been up in all the top races throughout the season and gets a big prize yesterday. He was yesterday, Pete, wasn't he? Rich afterward, he said, no, he's just strolling around Sydney Friday, and he, you know, when he was a young kid, he was a Catholic. Sort of forgotten the track was it for a while. He just walked into a church and got a tap on the head from the bloke up the front. And...
Yes.
Tell you what, I was a bad run on the punt. I lit some candles, but it didn't work.
I tell you, well, how well it went for him.
I think Shamari's a horse to follow.
No doubt, Mark.
I think she's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, she's very, very good. Why Grit?
As was the 2-year-old fillies race, this is a new race they've got called the Royal Randwick Stakes. It was won by Eloping, ridden by Stephen Baster. She'd run 7th in the Golden Slipper. She's had a bit of a long campaign.
Well, he's done it all on one preparation. And look, I think Peter Morgan explained it pretty well yesterday. You know, sometimes they don't come back. And while she's enjoying a racing, in saying that, I've never seen a horse gift. There was a couple of gifts there yesterday, this and the last. They weren't competitive races. We're talking about a 1,200-metre sprint, and they're going three-quarter barrier trial speed up front. What do you expect? They're not going to do anything from the back. This is a filly who makes her own luck, and I reckon they've done a tremendous job.
I agree with everything you say there, and I think that's where Peter's thinking. He's thinking, this is a 2-year-old. She's bred to be a 2-year-old. She had a Rory's just a mare. This is a 2-year-old. She's going really well. Let's just let her be a 2-year-old. We'll worry about 3-year-old year if it happens. Yeah. And I think that's tremendously balanced view, and it comes from a bloke who's got plenty of experience.
And she knows, but look, that's as far as she can run 1,200. I think there was a doubt about her running 1,200 prior to the race. So keep it going. Well, I don't know if he's going to keep it going now, but it's paid dividends by keeping it going.
With another Darley runner, number 1 Sidestep. The crack pattern is going to be a concern now for Sidestep.
Kieran McAvoy would know that. Look, joining into 16. $18 for Dothraki in cahoots, 26 as I hit Brent Zarafa. It is $8 back into $7.50. The favourite is Bounding. The Kiwis, they've warmed to him after one victory early. $4 into $3.60.
The ladder as yet, but now he does. Outside, Dothraki down near the inside, probably the best out, but Bounding's now starting to muster speed and race up on the outside and hit the front. And then Thump just in behind them, Never Can Tell, followed by Turquoise King. In Cahoots was further back, followed by Safeguard. Shamalia picking up ground along the rail. She'll go up into about 5th spot, followed by Chautauqua. And then Sidestep, who's ended up second last near the fence, and Ivana's behind it. So Bounding trying to slow them down, leads by 3/4 on Dothraki. Then Never Can Tell, followed by Thump on the outside. She's out 3 wide. Back behind them, In Cahoots, Shamalia on the rail, and Turquoise King just racing a little bit greenly, followed by Sidestep trying to pick up in between horses. Chautauqua's with it, and then further back behind them, Safeguard and Ivana. So Bounding led for home from Dothraki on the outside, about a half a length away. Then Thump further back, followed by Never Can Tell, Shamalia. Sidestep's trying to get in between horses, but it's Bounding holding Dothraki for the moment. Thump is on the outside. Sidestep Sidestepper's getting out later. Bounding still in front. Sidestepper's starting to fly on the outside. Sidestep Lun's got up. Sidestepper's beaten Bounding, a great win. In Cahoots was third, and then Havana followed by Dothraki and Thump and Chautauqua, followed by Shamali and Never Can Tell, Turquoise King, and last in was Safeguard.
Oh, outstanding win, number one Sidestep. Oh, he's a different horse's preparation. He only got out late, but Denny Motor, Bounding the Kiwi, the best back runner looked home, but number one Sidestep. He did sidestep anyone the last 50. He had to do plenty of dancing. And
He pays $4.10 and $1.50. Bounding was well supported, $8 in, starts at $4, $1.70 the place. In Cahoots,
It was a big win, wasn't it? Sidestep produced a beauty at Rosehill, and Mark Lewis as good a performance yesterday to win and beat Bounding, who was fantastic for Kenny Kelso and Mark Duplessis.
Well, he looked to come from an impossible position there, didn't he? Bounding looked to be flying out in front those early races, and I still think it was an advantage to be up near the lead in these shorter races. He had to push out, give a start. He was well suited at the weights, but he is going to another level this time in.
Heavily back to the Kiwi, and love what we saw there, eloping.
Yeah, well, everyone was starting, as Mark said, gone to another level.
He backs up next week.
Yeah, he does into the all-age stakes. Obviously, Peter Snowden's only got 2 more weeks or 2 more Saturdays left at the helm of Darley, and hoping that everything goes well with the horse pulling up from that run. But
yes, and that race was part of the championships yesterday, the Royal Sovereign Stakes, taken out by Sidestep for Karen McAvoy. He'd run second in last year's Golden Slipper, so he'd always shown a lot of potential. He put it all together yesterday, Ron.
Yeah, look, he's a horse that's taken a bit of training and a bit of fine-tuning, and Peter's fiddled with the gear with him. He's always been a horse with they've thought was a Group 1 potential. There was a little doubt about his desire a few times where he's loomed up, and although he's only had 2 runs this preparation, he looked like he loomed up and had to think of it about it first up when he was nutted out, and then he loomed up and just got the money last time. But look, he savaged the line here.
You were keen on this Kiwi filly, weren't you, Bounding?
Yeah, look, she had terrific form leading into this race.
It was unlucky. She had to do a bit of work out of the gates to cross them, and it just burned enough fuel to get a beat. And I have to kennel release here. Kennel release. Alert. I've got a release sidestep from the kennel.
Okay, yeah.
He actually showed a bit of desire here.
He did. But maybe this is how you got to ride him. Just produce him without letting him have a think about things, because they did a bit of work. He didn't get out to the 150 metres.
He ambushed them.
He ambushed, exactly.
Yeah, he's an ambush horse.
And it's interesting that he'll go. Peter Snowden doesn't do it often. To let the 3-year-olds take on the weight for age horses next week in the I think the all-age stakes next week, Andrew.
A great Group 1 next week, of course. All right, into the mounting yard we go for the celebrations. Queen of the Turf Stakes, the first of our Group 1s as we look at the market with Catkins is the favourite. Red Tracer is second favourite. She's the first that we look at in the mounting yard. Nashville Willer and Chris Waller. Big stakes, has the money come for any here, Rich?
What, Richo? Has it what? Big go. Let's get on the board. Red Tracer, 420 to 480. Dreamer, 13 into 11. Here it is. Number 3, Catkins, the grey. 360 into 270. Big go. Viadana. Diamond Drills out to the same mark, $41. Recite is 20 out to 26. Solicit 440 to 480. And the second, she held the others all at bay. And she's a dominant favourite here.
Diamond came out about a length and a half last, and Catkins began well. So did Solicit and Recite out wide, and they'll take over from Catkins, and Red Tracer now driving up in the centre. And then came in behind them Diamond Drill, Viadana, followed by Streamer. Gypsy Diamond has crossed behind the field and is now going up along the rail. The halfway mark, the 3-year-old filly in front, Solicit, and she shows out from the New Zealander Recite. Catkins heavily backed into favourite third. She's getting a nice run, and Red Tracer's behind it with Viadana. And then Gypsy Diamond and Diamond Drill. Streamer second, last 8 off the lead. And last of all, Benaria approaching the home turn, about 500 to go. Solicit in front, being nigged along now by the rider to try and get a break. Catkins is striding up 3 wide. Recite inside it. Then in behind them next as they turn, Gypsy Diamond getting a rails run, saving ground. And Red Tracer is coming on strongly down the outside as well. Red Tracer moved up in the centre, has taken the lead with Gypsy Diamond on the rail and Diamond Drill on the outside. Red Tracer, Diamond Drill and Gypsy Diamond. The three of them settle down to fight it out. Diamond Drill on the outside has put ahead in front. Diamond Drill, a bit of an upset here. She'll just win it from Gypsy Diamond. Red Tracer third from Streamer. And then in behind them next we had Viadana, followed by Catkins, who got tired, Benaria Recite, and Solicit stopped as if shot at the top of the straight and has finished last of all.
Oh, the bookies have got the lot. The bookies have got the lot. Number 7, Diamond Drill. She bounces back here, ridden quietly like she was when she won the Aspiration. Ridden closer last start and was disappointing behind Catkins.
For Diamond Drill in this race, but nice win anyway.
$34.20 and $6.70. Diamond Drill wins pay at $41 starting price. Defeats Gypsy Diamond, the 3-year-old filly backs.
From Gypsy Diamond, Red Tracer third.
Sure was, but no surprise to see those colours of the Colavos family successful during the championships. Good luck to Greg and Don. They put a lot in, and they got a big result there yesterday. A horse has been good to them. A year off, but top of the game yesterday at $41. There'll be some flops here. Catkins disappointing. Rich, Red Tracer looked every possible.
Yeah, I thought she'd win at the top of the straight, Red Tracer. I believe she'll go for a spell now. Solicit was gone. It's tailed out. Catkins, blinkers off, winkers on. Worst run of her career.
Well, there's got to be something more than that done. She was meek, and I think Red Tracer, she's won once at 1,600 metres, but had a dream run there. She beat Catkins. I think 1,600 metres is just as far as she wants to go, but she's probably not going quite as well as she was in the spring. Is she?
What do you make of the winner, though? I mean, do we underestimate?
Well, I've got to say, I don't think many people could have had the winner on form. She didn't look well placed, although I thought Gypsy Diamond had a great chance in the race off a run the other day, and she missed the start, but she did get a beautiful rails run there.
And obviously,
they rode her a little bit quiet. When she won the Aspiration, Diamond Drill.
Ron, let's just go back to the Queen of the Turf Stakes. I suppose a few of these mares have had a bit of a long campaign and were a bit tired yesterday.
Look, there was a few disappointments in the race. It was nice to see, the winner, although it was a surprise result, she's a quality filly and she's been well handled leading into this race. There's no doubt about it. Gypsy Diamond did her usual thing of missing the start. That's her back last on the inside. She gets the best run through, well, second last on the fence, I should say. She gets the best run through you'd ever see. The gap's opened, and you'd have to say no real excuses for her. Nice to see Red Tracer prove that inglorious run in the last time wrong, and she's run to her ability there. Catkins was awful. That's not in her makeup. She seemed to be coasting in the run and didn't finish off. And
I think Solicit brought her undone. That pace in that race, I haven't seen the sectionals, but it looked to me to be pretty strong up front. And you know how Catkins can often be on the bit, tugging and wanting to go faster. Well, she's kind of off the bit, and I thought, well, that's pretty much an indication that the pace is pretty strong. And I think at that pace, she was just found a little suspect at that distance.
Yeah, look, and what about Solicit? She had that skin.
Two of the championships. The second of our features is the Australian Oaks. I'm joined by Caroline Searcy, of course, host of
winner herself in New Zealand, Savannah Success. And I think the third one is Rising Romance. She flew home in the New Zealand Derby, but I think on pedigree, Forever Loved. We saw the Colavos with Gay Waterhouse win the previous race, and I think Forever Loved by High Chaparral, of course, a dual Derby winner. From the family of Octagonal, Don Eduardo. The
Blue Eyes at 200-1. This is absolutely the go of the day for such a huge race. Number 2, Lucia Valentina, Huey Bowman. He's a great rider, full stop, but he's a wonderful rider of staying races. He won the Derby here last Saturday on Criterion. He goes in the right spot and just kept him going. My old man rated one of the best. Pretty handy mare called Samantha Miss. And this favourite, Lucia Valentina, 210 in a $1.80.
Well, they've been betting on our Group 1s, and that is the Australian Oaks.
These are in line, and they're off now. Cast in Stone missed it. Cuban Star out the back. Lucia Valentina showed no early speed. She'll settle down about third last. And Role Model and Forever Love, the stablemates are fighting the lead out early on. And Amanpour, another stablemate going up on the inside. Followed by Miss Mossman, who's a little bit wide around the outside of Miss Von and Rising Romance. Then Blue Eyes. Zanbar was next, about 3 lengths. Casino back straight. And the leader here is Amanpour, showing out by a length and a half to 2 on Role Model and Forever Love. Cuban Star is working hard on the outside, still rolling forward along that back straight. And it goes up to second now, followed by Miss Mossman, Rising Romance and Miss Von. Then over on the inside is Blue Eyes. Zanbar's dead set in midfield, a length to Miss Selby, Casino Dancer interspersed. and then Suavito, followed by Lucia Valentina, and Cast in Stone last of all. There'd be about 15 lengths covering the field, and Cuban Stars raced up on the outside of Amanpour and Forever Loved. A half a length Role Model fourth, then Rising Romance. It's had a dream run back on the fence. Then in behind their next Miss Mossman, followed by Blue Eyes, Zanbar taking off around the outside of Miss Vaughn, and further back Miss Selby, Casino Dancer. Lucia Valentina starting to work into it, but she got pushed off the track there, and interspersed as saving ground on the rail. Amanpour and Cuban Star, but Rising Romance is now out into the clear, and it's sprinted up to hit the lead now. Rising Romance from Forever Loved, then Miss Selby, Zanbar and Lucia Valentina are coming from the back of the field, but Rising Romance is well out in front from Forever Loved. Lucia Valentina and Zanbar are storming home late, but Rising Romance, she ducked to the fence. She's still in front. She's stopping, but she's home, and she wins it from Zanbar and Lucia Valentina. Then in behind them, Forever Love, followed by Interspersed Suavito, Miss Selby, and then came Miss Vaughn. A gap to Cuban Star, Casino Dancer, Blue Eyes, Cast in Stone, Amanpour, Miss Mossman and Role Model at the back of the field.
Well, they were the three fancies in the market. Number 3, Rising Romance. James McDonald for Donna Logan. Things a little bit differently this week. She was up out of trouble. She was in the perfect spot, and she picked.
It was the worst big race ride I've ridden. I promise I'll make it up to you in the Oaks. He says, we'll win the Oaks.
Now, of course, at home, it's a little bit different.
Payback for yourself there to some extent, wasn't it?
Bloody oath. It's, I told them, everyone I rode it pretty bad, and I knew the filly was exceptional, and makes these Kiwis are firing up over this carnival.
You gave it an absolute peach ride. You knew your great result for Donna Logan. Of course, had a BB here last year and gets the Oaks this year after a brilliant ride by James. James, just watching it, betting in the run there, you were travelling beautifully and you had your main as well behind you.
Yeah, for sure. It was, when the barriers come out, like all the favourites were drawn around each other, and it was going to make an interesting race because one of us was going to follow one of the good ones and get a card in, but I was lucky enough to get a really good run and uninterrupted, and she kept in a lovely rhythm and sprinted really well.
Were you surprised you were so close, James? Because we had the only runs that I've seen her in.
Travels to Brisbane a lot and does to Sydney, because I mentioned her BB there. What's the future for this filly, do you think? What level could she get to? Obviously, it's Group 1 yesterday. That's an Oaks. What do you think come spring?
Definitely think she's got a great turn of foot, and especially over that 2,400 metres, not many can do it, and I reckon she'd be very good over 2,000 metres as well. Very effective.
When you got off the back of the Greg and Donna Kolovos colours just there, and then you hold up, but when you go bang, that's the winner. Like Zanbar and that are probably 4 off you. Then there's 6 off you again when you let go, and that's the difference. When she goes bang, she just gets away again. They get home okay, Zanbar got home terrific. Lucia Valentina, I thought her run was humongous. It was huge, but it just goes to show you got to make your own luck, and by getting into the spot early was the winning move for Rising Romance.
Well, Lucia got the
probably not in the order a lot of people thought it got into odds on Lucia Valentina, but it was probably 15 lengths
in the Derby. Just switch her off and worry about the second half of the race later as it unfolds. And he's brilliant at that, and I definitely took a leaf out of his book.
You were critical of your ride last start. What did you do wrong on it last time?
I just got in a position where I couldn't do anything about it, and it was pretty silly because I couldn't make a move when I wanted to make a move, and didn't give the filly the best opportunity. But I was very thankful the owners kept me on, and I was glad to repay them with a fantastic win like that.
You claimed the leaders pretty early in the straight there. That can leave you a sitting duck, but she must have been going well underneath you for you to do that.
Oh, for sure. And I spent not a penny in the run, so I was able to spend a little bit earlier and get a break on them, and we knew she'd stay all day.
It's great to have a New Zealand trainer on this morning because we've got tweets coming through from your home country, all into Richard this morning. They just simply cannot believe the comment he made here on the program. Look at these just rolling through. 3 winners yesterday for New Zealand, a couple of seconds, Bounding and Sacred Falls. 3rd, Lucia Valentina, a 4th and a 5th as well. What a proud day for New Zealand. Get stuck into that man beside you.
Donna, let me explain something. Andrew, who never makes a statement about anything, never gets caught with these things. But, unfortunately, a few months ago, I thought, you'd had a long period in New Zealand where your horses weren't up to Australian standard. But you struck back pretty hard, I have to say.
Look, Richard, I always believe we produce good stayers. We can really breed a stayer. But I not for a minute believe that we can outdo you with sprinters. So, both countries have their own forces to be reckoned with. But
A big roll up there. Zanbar ran on well.
Look, she was beautifully positioned by Blake Shin. She travelled nicely. Just left a little flat-footed when Rising Romance went for home. Hugh Bowman's had his critics over since the Oaks. She got a mile back the favourite, Lucia Valentina, but that's hers. That's her racing pattern. She couldn't be any closer. So, although she looked like no, it's a dominant performance. She was too good. Second and third were brave, and even the fourth filly, who didn't run the distance right out, Forever Love, she was quite dominant from the rest of them as well.
Sydney Cup, first run way back in 1866 is our next Group 1, one of the classic races, a 2-mile classic. And the offer is the favourite, trained by Hall of Fame trainer in Gai Waterhouse. Let's have a look at the market for this year's Swept Sydney Cup. And the offer is the favourite, ahead of the Kiwi, Who Shot the Barman. They're having a terrific day.
So Barman, $8 into $5.50. Good go this, $8 into $5.50. The offer's the favourite at $3.30. Brigantine.
Data about to let them go. Trouble out wide. Tremec bouncing around. Off they go. And Tremec and Volusta Kerrs jump well. With a Pingle showing early speed with Who Shot the Barman. Down near the inside, we've got Fifth Column starting to roll forward. And Sartorius is up there with him, and Angola's right along the fence going up to hit the lead. So as they settle down, it's Angola on the rail just in front here from Hippopus on its outside. And then Fifth Column followed by Sartorius back on the inside from Gondokoro. The offer settles down about 6th or 7th, one off the fence, and then Brigantine on the inside of it from Who Shot the Barman is out 3 wide. Tremec's even deeper 4 wide. Side, and the pressure's starting to be applied here with a line of 4, with Angola tackled by Tremec, Hippopus out 3 wide, and Like a Carousel 4 wide. Sartorius smoking the pipe behind them. Who Shot the Barman next, and then Opinion getting up on the rail, followed in behind them next by Brigantine. Gondokoro's out wide, followed by Volusta Kerrs. Fifth Column losing ground. The offer's trying to thread through the field in the middle from Desert Journey. Let's Make a Deal, and 2-Pack Amaru and a Pingle are still a long way back. It's Angola leading as they turn for home from Opinion, leads it by 2. Then Sartorius and Desert Journey. The offer is starting to thunder down the outside. Opinion's the leader with the offer ranging up on the outside. He sprinted better, hit the lead, and has shot away. It's the offer nicely out in front from Opinion, Brigantine and Sartorius. And Tommy Berry boots him home. The offer wins the Sydney Cup in a canter. Opinion second, Sartorius third. Then Brigantine, Pingle, 2-Pack Amaru, followed by Let's Make a Deal. Then Desert Journey, followed by Who Shot the Barman. At the head of the others, Angola, followed by Tremec, and then a gap to Volusta Kerrs, followed further back in behind them next by Fifth Column. And then we had Gondokoro, Hippopus, Like a Carousel, and Macedonian has finished last of all.
Oh, he's a serious stayer, this galloper. He toyed with a number 4, the offer. He wins the Swept Sydney Cup. He won the Chairman's last week and he blew them away today. Tommy Berry just brooded patient, pulled the button, pulled the trigger, and he just went crash, bang, wallop. Another Group 1 for Tommy and Gai. Opinion. You won't see a better ride than that in the carnival. Jay Collett.
Well, the sky's the limit. $3.50 and $1.80. He was the.
Obviously, you're heavily involved in racing now. You're a lot bigger player than you probably were a few years ago. What's the story?
Well, it started off with your side.
The Muddling Run race, gosh, that looks terrible there, doesn't it? The Muddling Run race where he just couldn't quite get his into the rhythm, and then he picked up. Look out, Melbourne Cup. Here we come, 2014.
He's only going to get better. There's Gai Waterhouse, and he's on towards a Melbourne Cup, Richo. And
Tommy, that was a bit too easy.
No, well, starting to call that Nathan's horse now. He's two of the hardest things coming back here, and he's the first one to give me a cuddle, and he's not here to do that anymore, but I'm glad I've come back to riding and I'm making him proud.
I'm sure. And you said, you wanted him to ride a Group 1 winner, and you've done it for him.
Every race I win for the rest of my life is going to be for Nathan. He's my best mate. He's my best support, and I'll never be able to replace him. But as I said last week, riding's something we love doing, and I'm so fortunate that I'm in the same career and I can do something that Nathan passionately loves.
You do it so well. You've got to be proud of yourself too, because you've got to get out there and do it now. And that's what you've shown everyone in Australian racing and world racing that you're capable of.
Yeah, well, look, I sat beside Nathan in his bed for 2 weeks, and he fought harder than anyone I've ever seen, you know. So doing this is easy. This is nothing compared to what Nathan went through, and nothing in life is so good. And, you know, Data, he hasn't come to the races since I started. So he's come out on the right day. So
Come in here. Good on you. There's a merry family, and sometimes you don't need words. Pictures will tell the story, and that's what it's all about here for the...
Yes, third. Then
Well, a horse who started life as offer for Aidan O'Brien, won a race at Nace, now favourite for the Melbourne Cup after winning the Sydney Cup. Ran favourite and ran away from him. Dominant staying performance by this horse. Obviously, it's a pair of soft tracker. So you get a wet track in Melbourne come the spring. He's a beauty in the wet, but he's obviously an improving young horse.
I just can't like in the chairman's last week when I think Mark and I spoke about last week. Jimmy went around an opinion. I thought hello, but then he picked him up cold and he just rode it so confidently yesterday. They all just kept taking off Mark, and Tommy he didn't want to overbar it. He just kept biding his time.
Yeah, well, he might have got confidence from the run last week where that happened, and he did take his time to get to the outside, but once he got into the clear, he did show that good turn of foot again. The Sydney Cup hasn't been a great guide in recent years to the Melbourne Cup, obviously, but he might be a different kettle of fish.
Well, he's only 200 metres. The offer was certainly the in-form racehorse going into the race. He'd won the Chairman's, he'd won the Manion Cup at his last couple. He ran that 3,200 metres right out, Ronnie.
Yeah, he certainly did. He's a horse I was a little concerned about, but had set all his form up on very heavy tracks. But he stamped himself yesterday with a dominant 2-mile performance, wasn't it? He put a margin in what looked a solid field to me on paper. Gay's saying, bring on the Melbourne Cup. Why not? Why not? Although they're going a little bit overboard. That's probably the moment after the event.
It's not an easy thing to do to win the Sydney Cup and come back and win the Melbourne Cup.
Some have put him up favourite now, but look, he's going well. He proved that he's not just a bog tracker. It was a lovely ride by Tommy. He rode the patient race, let a few go round, and then just chimed in at the right time.
I was surprised at his turn of foot on you know, how quickly he put paid to them.
Yep.
I think that is a little reflection that these stayers, they're not Melbourne Cup class horses that he's beating. This horse certainly, you know, beat them easily, so we won't rule him out. But I think I can't see any Victorian candidates there behind him, with the exception of Sartorius, who I just don't think has had a great campaign in Sydney.
Yeah, no, it was a dominant win. Opinion saved the ground on the rail and may have been a little flattered there. And, you know, when you save ground in 2-mile races, it's certainly a great asset. But
this is the big one. Highly promoted, highly hyped. The scene is amazing as we get ready for the Longines Queen Elizabeth Stakes, worth $4 million. 9 of the 12 are Group 1 winners. They've amassed $23 million in prize money. They've won 21 individual Group 1s. It is a super race. So let's have a look at the market for the Queen Elizabeth before we go into the mounting yard and have a look at these equine superstars. And It's a Done Deal is the favourite, despite the little setback that it has had. And Silent Achiever is the second favourite. Into the in the stalls, he has flipped over. He's been past fit. Rich, I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look at him, but I know.
$15 into 13. It's a Done Deal's been $3.80 out to $4.20. Sacred Falls, 10 out to $11. Green Moon, 21 into 15. Carlton House, $6 out to $7.50. 9 Loire, 81 into $41. Silent Achiever, the Ramvet, the BMW winner, 480 into $4.20. Royal Descent, 750 to $6.50. And Dear Demi, 71 into 41. There's been more. Nash went on and she's been nearly unbeatable. She's the favourite, $2.4 million for first. What a race it's going to be.
And they're off. It's a Done Deal, broke well from the inside. Carlton House began fast and so did Silent Achiever. And My Kingdom of Fifers rushing up on the outside to almost make a line of 4. Just behind them, Loire, followed by Toynity on the inside, and then Boban and Green Moon. Royal Descent's behind them from Hawkesbury is back third last. Demi second last, and Sacred Falls has crossed behind the field after drawing wide and is at the tail. Carlton House sped away, leads by a couple, and My Kingdom of Fife. It's a Done Deal is third on the rail. And and then a length and a half to Silent Achiever as they start to string out. About 2.5 to Toy Dini. Boban's up on the bridle a little, followed on the outside by Loire, and then Green Moon, Hawkspur, Royal Descent, Sacred Falls and Dear Demi last. There'd be about 12 or 15 lengths covering the field at the 1,200 metres, and Carlton House is the leader. My Kingdom of Fife directly behind it, and It's a Done Deal 2.5 away third. About 3 lengths to Silent Achiever, followed by Toy Dini, then Boban. On the outside, Loire, followed by Hawkspur, Green Moon next, and then Sacred Falls. Royal Descent second last, and Dear Demi's at the back of the field. Coming down the side, 800 to go, and the foot's been to the floor from the time they've jumped. And the leader is Carlton House by about 2.5 to 3 on My Kingdom of Fife. It's a Done Deal's about 3 away. Silent Achiever starting to edge up a little bit closer now. And then came Toy Dini, followed by Loire. Boban held up for a run on the fence. Sacred Falls is picking up ground along the rail. And further back behind them, Hawkspur, Green Moon, Royal Descent and Dear Demi. Carlton House has got further away coming into the straight. My Kingdom of Fife is gone, and now It's a Done Deal is setting out after the Royal Colours. It's Carlton House in front. It's a Done Deal 3 away. Another 3 lengths then to Silent Achiever. And then came Sacred Falls. Carlton House is still in front. It's a Done Deal is closing in with every stride. And then Sacred Falls. But on the outside, It's a Done Deal has run to the front. Sacred Falls is coming after him. He's coming fast, but It's a Done Deal is hanging on grimly. He peaks when it counts. It's a Done Deal beats Sacred Falls and Carlton House. Then Silent Achiever, followed in behind them by Royal Descent and Toy Dini. Then at the head of the others, Green Moon and Loire, followed by Hawkspur, Dear Demi, and then at the head of the others we had Boban and My Kingdom of Fife at the back with it.
The speed was on from Carlton House, and number 2, It's a Done Deal, just had the beautiful sit back in third spot, and he's held the Doncaster winner. This is the placings from the 2013 Rosehill Guineas. It's a Done Deal beats Sacred Falls, Carlton House all third, Silent Achiever will run.
He was just so confident. He was the only horse.
Wins yet another Group 1 as this outstanding young rider continues his rise to fame. 410 and 150. There's all the divs. Sacred Falls 380. Carlton House $2.60.
A lot of people in this syndicate. There might be 20 or 30 of them, and but it's a very exciting moment for us. It's a dream because, as you know, I've been very involved in all this, and for us to be involved in the winning horse is something very, very special. In the inaugural,
Congratulations, Murray Baker.
Thanks, Richie. Yeah, great.
Mate, there's been plenty of pressure on this Autumn Carnival. He hasn't got into the working the circle over here, but grand final day's the day you got to really peak.
Yeah, well, we're aiming for this all along, and you know, we thought his gallop on Thursday was back to last year as a 3-year-old. It's the most sparky showing. Fell over in the parade ring, so he goes all sorts of failure, but you know, good effort. We thought he was spot on today.
The best part, Murray,
a special occasion and a special ride and a special horse for you, James.
Yeah, can't believe it. I don't know if I'm more happy about winning 4 million or winning the race. I don't know.
Well, he's a great horse, and that you've always shown great faith in this horse all the way through, and you knew he was. Well, today was the day.
Yeah, well, I worked him on Tuesday, and I got off, and I said, "Oh, they don't work as good as what he worked." He was back to his brilliant best, and it's so good to win today.
What about when you heard before the race that there's it's not? No, for you, I mean, you're on record now. This is the best horse you've trained. You've trained plenty of good horses, and I mean, the obvious question is that the best is. Well, yesterday was fantastic, but there's still more to come for this horse, surely.
Well, that'll be over to John Massara and Arrowfield. They'll probably make a commercial decision. Obviously, he's been syndicated, and they may want him to go to stud.
If he's real,
He's hanging on grimly. He peaks when it counts. It's a Done Deal beats Sacred Falls and Carlton House.
well, 10 career wins now for It's a Done Deal. 6 of those at the highest level. He's got a great stallion's future, but we hope to see him again on the racetrack. That's a decision to be decided. James, when you watch him back again, you always look to have Carlton House's measure, which is a case of Sacred Falls getting there or not.
Yeah, for sure. In previous starts, I've had to work on him a bit to get where I was there yesterday, and he towed me into the race this time, and that was the difference between winning and losing. And he gave me a feel at the 300. I never thought he'd get beat.
Why left hand to right hand for you there? What was happening there?
Just thought
Something
yeah,
for the
showing
photo?
off. Yeah.
Showing off.
Just trying to get your left hand practice in a Group 1 worth 4 million.
Yeah, that's it.
He didn't go high in the irons like he did in the Oaks because you could feel Zach coming on Sacred Falls. Were you surprised when you let down, James, that Sacred Falls ended up getting pretty close.
Yeah, actually, because I wasn't stopping either, and it was probably a big effort by Sacred Falls to get as close as he did, because like I never felt Done Deal slowing down at any stage, and he was very strong to the line.
With Tommy just getting right.
It was a terrific run, obviously. At the 300, I thought I was going to get nowhere near him. At the 100, I thought I was going to win it, but the winner was just too strong. And, you know, my bloke's run out of his skin, back to weight for age up to 2,000. Probably just stretched him, but terrific run.
We wanted to roll along at a decent tempo, but Waller's all sitting outside of us didn't help. He wanted to get travelling a bit keen, but, you know, he's Group 1 place now in Australia. I'm sure he'll improve in next preparation.
Absolutely gallant. Probably wasn't a peak performance today. She probably lifted a bit on the racetrack last time, but full of heart all the same.
She ran well, just had to settle a little bit farther back from a wide gate, but she worked home nicely.
He ran really well. It was a much improved effort from him today. He was a really solid test out there, but he stuck to his guns well. I was proud of him.
Too far. They'd set him for all along, and he was spot on. It's a done deal. Very, very well back to over the last couple of days. Now, this morning on Racing Retro, we've got the winning jockey, James McDonald, and the winning owner, John Massara. John,
sitting in the slipstream as long as he could, and when Carlton House set a good tempo, it was only going to play into our hands, because my horse does have a great turn of foot and sustains a long run.
Was there ever a moment's worry? He seemed to be grabbed a bit of gain coming to the turn there.
Probably the only moment was when everything was sorting itself out. It was whether I was going to be right up Carlton House's backside or a few lengths off him, and once the field spread out, it was perfect.
Congrats.
Yeah. Yep. John, with the timing, the $1 million question is now, was that the last time that we've seen him, or is it too soon to think about whether you retire or go to England for Royal Ascot?
Yeah, it's a little bit too soon. I'm today and tomorrow we're going to do some thinking. I'll talk to the other members of the syndicate, and we'll probably announce something on Tuesday. Tuesday happens to be the closing date as well, as far as acceptances is concerned for Ascot. So we've
done deal. By the way, Boban bled. That was an important one too. So he's out for a couple of months.
That's unfortunate for his connections. But look, the winner always looked in control. It's a done deal. I thought Sacred Falls was sensational, backing up from the Doncaster the week before on a drier track there yesterday at 2,000 metres. He was gallant, running on strongly at the finish there. Carlton House, although he hasn't won in Australia, he was still
a hell of a run.
It was a great run.
Yeah,
that's his style. That's his style. That's the of the other Silent Achievers seemed to have her chance. She just may have come to the end of it now. She was in a perfect spot here behind It's a Done Deal, and she seemed to be in the right frame of travelling in the right way there as well.
Carlton House took the sting out of a lot of horses, didn't he? He really took the sprint out of a lot of them, and you have to be a very good weight for age horse to be able to accelerate after being under pressure for that long.
It's funny when you say, backmarkers need fast run races. Sometimes in fast run races, the sting comes out of these backmarkers and they cannot make up ground. And this race, to a certain extent, was like that, although the second horse did come from back a little bit. But it was just an interesting race, and you can see this is a real race because we've got the best we've got on offer. And look at the margin between first and last. This is a real race.
Yep, agreed.
John, just on Carlton House there, it would have been good for racing. Good for racing if the Queen's horse had won that race. Certainly it was a good boost for the race, but I know you're not complaining.
No, I'm not complaining, but I did have mixed feelings down the straight. Honestly, it was going through my mind, if I've got to lose, this is the horse to lose to, because it would be headlines all over the world.
We're cheering for him, though.
Not quite. But if we had to get beaten, that was the horse we'd like to get beaten by.
Speed was day 2 of the championships, and also we'll be giving a bit of a pat on the back to our man Brent Zarafa, who has won the charity tipping competition throughout the championships. All right, we're 10 minutes away from the lucky last, the Drummond Golf Sapphire Stakes.
And racing, Full of Spirit came out slowly. Recoinage jumped well. Cosmic Endeavour was showing some early speed, and so was Aerobatics, and going through down to the inside. Dystopia's up pretty close as they sort their order out. So Cosmic Endeavour in front, sitting out a bit wide from Aerobatics, and then Recoin all. Nearing the turn, and Cosmic Endeavour in front leads narrowly from Aerobatics on the outside. Dystopia camp behind them from Belle de Coeur. Then the Shahad, followed by Plucky Bell getting through in the centre from Simply Brilliant, and Perron's making ground out wide. It's Cosmic Endeavour in front as they run to the 250 from Aerobatics and Dystopia. Then further back on the inside, Belle de Coeur, but Cosmic Endeavour's giving a great sight. In fact, she got further ahead from Belle de Coeur. Aerobatics, Avoid Lightning's out of the pack late, but Cosmic Endeavour stole the march and went down to a bit Avoid Lightning and Belle de Coeur and Plucky Bell. Then came Aerobatics, followed by Lily Bolero running on late, and then Full of Spirit Recoinage, followed by Perron, never got on the track. Then Simply Brilliant Dystopia made a short dash and then stopped very badly, and Shahad was last in.
Well, it finishes a big day for Tommy Berry and Gay Waterhouse. Cosmic Endeavour wins the last. I tell you.
So a great day for Tommy and for Gay too. She's bounced back at home, so had been a little.
At the furlong, run that race again. Lily Bolero jumps and puts herself second. I think she wins the race. I thought honestly take 6 pages in the steward's report. I had a full head of hair last night. Didn't have to go to the barber. I scratched that much hair out. I was just trying to do, honestly, what's doing with Lily Bolero. It was the run of the race. The winner was super. Top of the speed. They walked.
Arabian Gold, the filly against the boys in the Frank Packer Plate. Before we go to that race, talking about dated right here on TVN with all the latest news. Now, the filly is the favourite here in Arabian Gold, ridden by Ollie, as I indicated, $2.35. Hooks.
Singer Quater came out fast from gate number 3 and goes to the early lead. Showing good speed from out wide. Hooks coming across to settle down second, and Fatal end up third on the fence, followed by Malice rolling forward out wide on the outside as Show the World, and Arabian Gold pushing up in the middle, and she'll settle down in about 5th position as Show the World now goes back a little bit further, followed by Shikra over on the fence, and then came Gamble's Town. And to the 800-metre mark, Equator's in front by a half on Malice, and then Fade On. Hooks had a good run in 4th on the outside, and Arabian Gold pinned up against the fence, followed by Show the World, Gamble's Town, and then Shikra still second last, and Take Wing 2 away at the rear. Getting towards the business end now, 600 to go. He's quickening up on the leader, Equator. He's trying to pinch a little bit of a break here. Following it through, Fade On gets the split to go after it on the outside. Malice, Hooked is still being nursed. Arabian Gold going up on the fence, and then Show the World. They turn for home. It's Equator in front from Fade On, and then on the outside now, Hooked is starting to run on strongly. Arabian Gold looking for a run down there in the inside, and still battling on there is Malice. It's Equator in front from Fade On. Arabian Gold on the inside getting through now, and Hooked wider out with Malice, but Oliver got the rails running. Arabian Gold, the filly, dived through to hit the lead. She's coming away. Arabian Gold, the favourite, Salute Beat, Fade On and Malice and Hooked, and then Equator, Take Wing, Show the World, Gamble's Town, and last in was Shikra.
The punters were spot on. Heavily back the filly. Nick Moratis and his family, they're out there in the theatre of the horse. David Van Dyke walks into the parade ring here, into the winner's enclosure with his chest belt in the middle. And why wouldn't he? He's done a super job with this filly.
Yeah, he's he's always in the right spot.
Malice and Hooked, and then Equator.
Pretty emotional result for both David Van Dyke and Nick Moratis. Of course, Might and Power was launched off this race, perhaps, to a big race.
As good as she is, I don't know about.
I wasn't comparing it to. They may have worn the same colours, but good to see Nick there yesterday. No, it was a bit of a task for him to get from back to front at Randwick, but he was proud to be there, and well done to David, the job he's done. And Ollie might have got put in the fence there.
Yeah, he didn't want to go to the fence, but he had to go. But the one bonus a few of the jockeys were saying about, they thought the fence was probably that little bit inferior to the rest of the track. But if you had a straight, wet tracker, they weren't as disadvantaged as horses that couldn't handle it all, because it was just that little bit moist down there on the inside.
Is the Mowat and Shandon Champagne Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Their first try for a lot of them over the mile. I'm joined by Caroline Searcy, of course, host of the Thoroughbreds from a breeding point of view. Caroline, who runs a strong mile here?
Well, we know obviously Vervelicious, she won the Fernhill Oh Indigo. This is a horse by Bernardini from South Australia. He won the Preakness, part of the US Triple Crown. He sired Good Milers, Boban, Toydini, and the Damn Elegant Eagle. Well, she won over 2,600.
And look through the honour.
Stalls, they're often racing, and that was an absolutely perfect start. Unknown Destiny began well. Backman was showing speed, and Zululand is right up on the speed here just after the start. And now settling down fully into stride, and it's Zululand and Unknown Destiny. They're showing out from Kamayon, followed by Lucky Racky moving up around the third half. Kamayon on the inside. Then Backman and Scratch Me Lucky, followed by Vervelicious tracking them. And then further back we had Proxy, Go Indigo, and Peggy Jean at the back of the field. Unknown Destiny 2 in front at the halfway mark. Leads out from Zululand. Kamayon Kamayan getting a nice run back on the fence, and then Lucky Racky followed by Scratch Me Lucky. Then Backman and Proxy followed by Vervalicious. She's still about 6 off the lead. Peggy Jean's about 8 off the lead last of all, and Go Indigo just up in front of it. Peggy Jean's taking off now. So Unknown Destiny in front from Zululand at the 500. Kamayan waits for a run behind them. Now they're starting to circle here with Lucky Racky, and now on the outside Peggy Jean. Vervalicious has missed a run here. She's in awful trouble now, getting into the clear, but giving them a bit of a start. So Zululand, Kamayan got the rails run, then Unknown Destiny, Peggy Jean down the outside, followed by Go Indigo, and then Vervalicious, Kamayan on the insides in front. Go Indigo is starting to sprout wings down the centre. Go Indigo has moved up on the outside. The South Australian galloper wins it, beats Zululand or Kamayan in a head bobber, followed in behind them next by Scratch Me Lucky. Then a gap to Peggy Jean, Vervalicious, followed by Proxy and Backman, Lucky Racky, and Unknown Destiny was last in.
Well, the South Aussies get the money. Number 9, Go Indigo, and boy, oh boy, did she go. Go Indigo.
She was very confident before the race, and he rode her accordingly. Gave her a beautiful run, wasn't it great?
It was just a matter, I suppose, whether the form there was going to match up. But one thing she did was relish the mile.
Yeah, she relished the mile, and she beat nothing the other day at Morfordville, but it was a track gallop for her.
Now, listen, you've had plenty of good horses, and none more recently, I suppose, in Southern Speed. Where does this girl sit with all the champs you've had?
Right at the top. And I've always thought that, and I didn't like to say it before today.
But and then now
and they get a great result here. And Chad Schofield gets another Group 1. What a young star he is.
Zululand or Kamayan in a head bobber.
His first start on March 10. 4 starts later wins a Group 1 during the Sydney Carnival, the Moe and Chandon Champagne Stakes at $7, but heavily back to do so. For Leon McDonald and ridden by Chad Schofield, opportunity for you to stick with this horse.
Yeah, definitely. Very well sourced by my manager to identify the filly after an impressive win in the Adelaide size produce and secure the ride on her for the Champagne yesterday. And no doubt she's a very talented filly on the way up, and she's done it all in one preparation. So the future looks bright. Educated her quite well, I might add.
What was the level of confidence from the stable going into the race, Chad? Were they pretty confident going into it?
They were. Obviously, her last start was very impressive, but it was a weak race, so you just didn't know how to match up the Adelaide form with the Sydney form. But when I spoke to Leon McDonald for the race, he was full of confidence and told me how good she is, and I was happy to hear that.
Well, you think it's just saying this is possibly the best he's trained.
I like Leon, and he said just before he came on the camera after the race yesterday, he said, I don't know if I should say it. He said, but I want to say it. He said, I wanted to say it before the race. He said, I think it's the best I've ever had.
Mm.
And then you think to yourself, well, who does our interviews on TV and before the race? Why wouldn't that bloke go and get Leon McDonald?
Mm.
And then we're all on, and then we're all happy.
Who does it? Oh, boy's best horse won on the day, and perhaps the most promising horse going forward.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
some of the
there's any doubt
others
about
might have just, they've had a couple of hard runs on going through lead-ups to the slipper or whatever, and Vervalicious mightn't have backed up, as Damien said. So it'll be interesting to see if this form continues on, though, because last year we saw Guelph win, and then the form behind it was pretty ordinary. So hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I think.
Preparation. Actually, he does most things right, and he's got a very good set of foot.
Geez, Leon, you say she could be one of the best you've trained. You've trained some good ones, Gold Guru, Geez, they were terrific horses.
Yeah, they were. And I suppose, it's all, it's close to one race, but, the last win's probably a big one, but, we've always had a very high opinion of this filly, and that's why she wins.
Yeah, right on time yesterday for a big day.
He's a marvellous traveller of horses. Yeah. He can take a horse.
What about this filly, Go Indigo, isn't he?
Yeah, well, so he should be. I guess she lifted to another level there on yesterday, and look, she's given a start, and she's pounced on what we thought were promising horses. Are we getting carried away with our 2-year-olds? I think we're having a pretty weak year because they were really showed up here big time. Although I do like this second horse, Zululand, who was ridden a little closer yesterday. I think he could develop into a Derby horse in the spring. And there's a couple other nice horses here that maybe didn't handle the going. But look, how easy was this?
I don't think as a group. I don't think as a group they're a strong 2-year-old group. Now,
Philly's won every big meet.
Philly's won everything. I'm not, I may get my nose rubbed in it by spring next year, but I doubt it. Except for this one, I really like this filly. I think she can go on and be the dominant filly in the spring. A lot of things have got to go right. She's got to stay sound. She's got to come up. All those things. But if she does, boy, that is an effort to go from where she's come from to a Champagne Stakes. Win it from the back in a slowly run race. You just got to say she's superior.
Runner up in a Group 1, so he's got a big future ahead of him and maybe going to Queensland for Zululand. All right, the second of their Group 1s, and that is the Schweppes All-Age Stakes Classic Race, and we have a short price favourite in number 1, Rebel Dane, who's won 6 of his 13. Rich, he's already a Group 1 winner over the 1,400 metres in the Rupert Clark.
And the owners, we wish Louis...
The Schweppes All-Age Stakes. Good. Fit to go, off-end racing. Hannah's Goal missed the start by about a length, and Tiger Tease came out well. Atlante probably jumped in front, but Tiger Tease got a little bit more speed now. And then Woodbine, followed by Sham Express. Rebel Dane settling just off the speed, and then came in behind them Bonetta, Weary as second last, Hannah's Goal at the rear. Out of the chute now, and Atlante by Sham Express. Bonetta's trying to go up in the middle, so he keep Rebel Dane out 3 wide, followed by Weary, who's got the back of the favourite, and last is Hannah's Goal. 600 out. Atlante in front. Leads from Woodbine. Tiger Tease is next, and then Rebel Dane fourth on the outside. Bonetta's in the centre. Sham Express on the rail, followed by Weary second last. Hannah's Goal at the rear. They start to come towards the home turn. Atlante's rider getting off the fence, and that'll leave a run for Tiger Tease. Woodbine next. Rebel Dane on the outside. Boss is now giving him a slap down the shoulder to chase the leaders, followed by Sham Express. It's Atlante in front from Tiger Tease. Sham Express is coming up along the inside. Then Rebel Dane, Bonetta, and Hannah's Goal is starting to jump out of the ground on the outside. Hannah's Goal, the Japanese mare, has come from well back, has claimed the lead, and has rocketed down to the line to beat Weary. Tiger Tease third from Sham Express, Rebel Dane, and then came in behind them next Bonetta, Woodbine, and last in was Atlante.
Well, the Japanese get the last Group 1. This mare, Hannah's Goal. She's third run in Australia, ridden cold out the back, and she was the best late, and she steamed past them. And Nashawilla wins the last. Number 7, Hannah's Goal, beats number 4 today, back in trip, and she was just ridden quiet. She's got a beautiful turn of speed.
後ろから行ってすごい足使いましたね。
いやー、馬の力を出してくれて、本当ジョッキーに感謝ですね。
He's really appreciated with the, what Nash down. Yeah, really happy, very happy.
It's just 9:40 and 2:30. Hannah's Goal wins, and yet another Group 1 to Nash for Cash Rawilla. Weary runs second to add to his third.
She jumped it over. I sort of brought it straight back underneath me. That wide gate, I didn't want her to get overdoing it early, and I was a little bit concerned that Weary just took me a couple of lengths further back than I wanted. Seems to be happening a bit to me lately, but just sort of bit the bullet and stayed on his back, and he gave me a good enough card into the race, and I knew a finish would take care of more than most of these.
Fantastic win, wasn't it?
It was a very good win. Look, she's probably just adjusted a bit, and I think she's running 2 of our hardest races. It's not easy to come here from the other side of the world and run in a Doncaster, that's for sure. But today, the small field, she had a few things that suited her, and she just showed her class, and that's what she's got plenty of.
The line to beat Weary. Tiger Tease third from Sham Express.
Well, she's only been a Group 3 winner in home Japan, but she came out yesterday, lined them all up, gave them all a start, and won impressively, beating Weary and Tiger Tease. Hard to miss her. I don't think she'd win the parade ring shots there, but the white winkers with the earmuffs.
Here's the simple fact of the matter. Tiger Tease and Sham Express can't run 1,400. I thought they were both going to win. Rebel Dane didn't back up. Would have been rather to have been ridden cold, but it didn't. Weary's run was good, but just probably wants more than the 1,400 after coming back from a tough mile. Hannah's Goal was far too good, and the others weren't in the race. Okay. Right, let's move on.
Thank you.
The championships run with it after that. So it was great. And look, the first run in Sydney blew the start. Craig Williams said, you can't really even make a claim for that. The Doncaster was a good run, and then Bang gets the prize yesterday.
Well, the good thing was too, Rich, I normally do the post-race trainer interviews. We had a change of bowling.
Hannah's Goal. She'd missed a place in the Coolmore and Doncaster, but they weren't necessarily bad runs. Michael Tabart is the owner.
It was a championship. We
if we hadn't won a Group 1 over here, we wanted to win a Group 1. Which, everybody knows now, I guess, the level in Japan is pretty tough and the number of G1s are limited. So we sort of looked around the world for a good race for her. And, with the championship increasing the prize money, we thought the Doncaster would be something good to aim for. So, yeah, we decided to take her out there. And then we decided to give her a lead-up run in the Coolmore and go to the Doncaster. So that was the reason why we went on.
Michael, she's a 5-year-old mare in Australia. Considering her success here this year, would you consider wanting to bring her back next year?
Everything's kind of up in the air now, but if she's still racing and she's still well, then yeah, definitely it'd be. I'd like to have another place to the Doncaster race. I think it would have been competitive if it wasn't so wet. It is wet enough time of year. It's a lot, I guess. So I think for her, she can be between maybe 12 and 1600 meters, and well, now she's won a Group 1, she probably won't get 52 again. I think the Doncaster is definitely a good race to aim at for her and for all good milers now. It's the most prize money of any mile race in the world, I think.
Michael, Australian owner of Hannah's Gold, picking up the Group 1 all-age stakes there yesterday. So at the start of the interview, when I asked him why did he come down here, he said, we were finding the Group 1s too difficult to win in Japan. So we went to Australia. Is that saying it's easier to win a Group 1 race in Australia than Japan?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And look, she's no oil painting either. She's a little scrawny little thing who she looked like she'd arrived out of Japanese winter when she first arrived.
So she's nowhere near the best of them.
Well, I wouldn't say so. She's obviously settled in well here, but she's improved, and obviously what Michael said there, the drier track certainly played into her hands yesterday. And look, let's face it, she was dominant.
Have a look at this replay. Look how far back she got in the early stages of the race.
She was trailing them into the straight. They'd gone along reasonably quickly, but I don't think they'd set any breakneck speed in the race.
No.
And she just tacked on, got to the outside. There might have been better going out there. I think later in the day it definitely was better out there. But it's the first time since I've been watching her, and I've been to all the meetings that she's raced at, that she has looked well. She had a bit of a shine on her coat. She looked like she was just starting to adapt to Australian climate and conditions. And look, Japanese racehorses, watch her peel out here in her blinkers and her, I don't think she wears blinkers actually, I think just the hood with the earmuffs. Japanese horses win Group 1s all over the world. These horses, if they're not the best horses in the world, they're the closest thing to it. And she's not one of their best, but she's good enough to beat Group 1 horses here.
Well, Richard, they got one running today in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup. Probably starts favourite and might be the target race now. But overall, you can take nothing away from the winner.
No, she simply dominated that race. I really like Weary for next preparation. That's his first Australian racing preparation. He's done a great job lifting, to be placed in a Doncaster and an all-aged, and he'll get better with racing. So,
thanks very much, Tatt. Nasrullah wins as we go. The Group 1 action continues around the.
We're almost right to go for this year's running of the Oaks. Star Fashion goes in. Out to an outside gate, Akajira. Attitude to come up. One of the rough racing now in the Oaks. Navajo Run began well. It's going forward looking for the lead in the early stage of the race. Razalilla's pressing on. Rezones in that group as well, and they're starting to come across on the outside. Akajira's going forward as well, so settling down. Girl in flight in the green making ground. Razalilla's on the fence. Back behind those then came Miss Carabo's. Starting to work into it, Navajo Run, then came in Masquerade. Rezone, Star Fashion with the pink cap. Now coming into the race was May's Dream. It's coming wide around Artistic Lass, then Scratchy Bottom, a long way back in the field with Perfect Company. So they run towards the home corner, and it's Akajira narrowly the leader. Quayside going up to join it. Girl in Flight starting to join in now, 3 wide. Navajo Run looking for a way clear. Razalilla the inside, coming wide in Masquerade, and Star Fashion right to the outside. Quayside burst to the lead. Girl in Flight is after her down the outside. Razalilla's back to the inside making ground. So it's Quayside from Razalilla. They're charging home. Have a look at this. Star Fashion, May's Dream spotting a gap and out wide. Scratchy Bottom, May's Dream and Quayside. It's going to be May's Dream for the Oaks. May's Dream gets into score. Seconds a photo. Star Fashion, Scratchy Bottom and Quayside. Great go the Miners, and in Masquerade wider out. Then came Artistic Lass. Behind those, then Miss Carabo's. Well back, Navajo Run. Then came Raza Lilla. Well back, Love the Rock. Further back in the field, then came Girl in Flight, who didn't finish it off with Rezoned. Arda Tud, Every Faith. Well back in the field, then Perfect Company. And Akajira, the early leader, was back at the end of the field, but the toppy gets it. Mate.
What a great finish for the Group 1 Sweps Oaks in South Australia. May's Dream, the favourite, driven.
May's Dream for the Oaks. May's Dream gets into score.
Well, there's Sheath Archie. Well done to Darren Weary's third Group 1. Sorry, only 3 for Weary. They've all been in South Australia. Twice as Platelet now with May's Dream. Yep, I wouldn't have tipped that. 16 Group 1s for Brad. Of course, he had 7 of those with... that was a great ride.
He sort of gave a kick.
Oh, best ride one. He had to not force the run, but he found the run, made sure he went through it, and she was strong for the line.
Well, he's lucky she's skinny, Bruce.
Yeah.
There's not much of her.
Well, in the autumn, Mark, she was a coat hanger.
Yeah.
And she has furnished into a coat hanger with a shirt on top of it now. And well done to DK. We love him as a trainer, and this is a great result for him in terms of Worrell Dunn, who bred this horse, who passed away during the spring last year. He's been with Darren since he virtually took out a licence in stall. So I know it means a lot to Darren Weir that he was able to win for the Dunn family who were there yesterday. So
Keyshaw gave a bit of a doing award, did he? No, there's what's doing in Sydney. I forgot about it. I'll give you that later. Well, a reason I should have nearly won the race. You go and watch the replay yet.
I just did.
That's it, as we know. It's Darren Weir's filly, May's Dream. Look, she was a very good filly back in the spring. She was being placed in some of those really good races, and she showed a great turn of foot yesterday.
Yeah, she certainly did. And look, Brad pushed her through a narrow gap there, and the straight was the difference between winning and losing, as we'll see here. But look, Darren's had a marvellous season. He gets a Group 1 here for Brad, who does a lot of work for the stable. And look, she was too good. There was a couple of good runs in this race. Star Fashion, as we said, scratchy bottom coming from way back. And I thought Quayside outside the lead, she did a bit of donkey work here, and she stuck on like a real strong stayer. You can see the winner there on the yellow hat. Look at the horse inside her with the white blinkers on. She beats her to the run. And that filly was called Rezoned, who was a long shot in the race, but she should have finished right up there with them, because May's Dream took her run, and then obviously she's had no luck from there on in. But full honours with the winner. She had form in the spring, and she's backed it up here in the autumn.
Punters rallied hard too, getting the run between them there late. May's Dreams was 4 into 3:30 late yesterday with tab.com.au. Look,
in just a moment, and then we've got the last race. As we have a look at that market, you'll be able to see that the favourite is Platelet. Darren Weir looking for a big Group 1 double. Interesting too, it was good to see that May's Dream.
And a gig from out wide with Dre Fontaine and Villa Verde and Gregers all showing speed from out wide here. So Dre Fontaine and Gregers from a time for Julia, Villa Verde fourth. You're so good behind those with Platelet, just discreet the inside. Gigs out very wide in the field from Shamel Wind, who's getting a long way back in the race. Well back, Halley Rocks and Molto Bene. Last of all, Dre Fontaine racing away to lead by 3 to Gregers and opening them up. 3 lengths away, a time for Julia as they hit the 6. Villa Verde, the outside of You're So Good. Then came Platelet, just discreet the inside. Gig wider out in the pack, starting to move into it. Then Shamel Wind. Satin Shoes a long way back towards the bend here. And back with it was Molto Bene. They turned for home. Dre Fontaine left the inside. Comes wide, a length in front of Gregers. Williams has stalked him all the way. Here comes Gregers out after Dre Fontaine. They're 2 lengths clear of Villa Verde, but also a time for Julia. Dre Fontaine, she's tough, she's digging in. She's a length on Gregers. Running on now, Platelet from the back. It's Dre Fontaine in front. Platelet's going to storm late, but Dre Fontaine's going to do it again. Dre Fontaine wins. Second home, Platelet. Third placing, Gregers. Villa Verde might have grabbed fourth from Shamel Wind and Just Discreet. Then came a time for Julia. Well out of it was Gig from Halley Rocks. Molto Bene, You're So Good, and Satin Shoes was last in.
Finished the same way they did in the Group 3 Irwin Stakes. Dre Fontaine, that was sustained speed. Too quick there, holding on $6.50, $7.20 on Super Tab, $2.20 the place. Platelet.
Star Thoroughbreds and partnership there, Dr. Terry Hodgson, who's the vet on course there at Mortville, and Gay placing them so beautifully. And Dry Fontaine gets a valuable Group 1 for her. Vlad Jurek, who does a lot of riding for Gay in the Southern States, a fifth Group 1 for him. Two of those came in Singapore.
Just kept running. That
didn't it?
I think that should have been riding more like that for a long while. She just kept running, but she likes firm tracks, Mark.
She does. Look, they've got some good races for fillies and mares over there through that South Australian Carnival, and it was good for Gay to identify that Greyfontaine would be suited there, and she's been able to win her last two and beat Platelet.
And as
South Australia, let's start with Greyfontaine, trained by Gay Waterhouse, owned by Star Thoroughbreds. Well done to Denise and all the team. I'll tell you what, she's been a good mare. When you look back at her record, she's won 2 Magic Millions races. She's won a Shirako Stakes in Sydney. She won the Irwin the other week. And there she was winning a Group 1. So she probably deserved a Group 1.
She's better than a good mare. She's outstanding. And she's as tough as any mare in Australia. She's went through the whole system. Golden Slippers, Magic Millions. And she's travelled. I thought she was flattened with a couple of wet track runs this preparation, but boy, as soon as you put her on a dry track, she's up with the best of them. To think they paid $75,000 for her, and she's by Fastnet Rock. She's a very, she's not very big, but what there is of her is there's all heart. And,
I was amazed that she poured on some power here too, and kept pouring it on. She got him off the bit a long way. Look, I think against the likes of, I know Appearance has been retired, Red Tracer, Catkins, that sort of class of mare, I think she probably struggles to beat them. But if you take her down and match her up against these, she's too good for them. And I agree with everything you say about her. She's as tough a mare as there is racing in Australia at the moment. That Greyfontaine, excellent.
Well, in Adelaide, Caracatus is a really good horse. They're backing it. Full rating from 650. It's had good support. The one's into 950 from 14. It is written into 10 from 12. SA Raider, 460 out of 5, but it's a good galloper as well for the
Menage in the centre won the start. Sewa Ladies going forward, nearest to pin out wide. Couldn't agree more, booting up in those green colours. Caracatus is going to lob handy the inside. So settling down, Menage led Sewa Lady, nearest to pin 3 wide. Couldn't agree more's in the middle, and Caracatus back on the inside. Conservatorium, SA Raider the next two. Then General PK, It Is Written, and last is Esprit de Bullet. As they work before the home corner, it's Menage from Sewa Lady, nearest to pin's always been wide. Behind those on the inside, Caracatus. Couldn't agree more in between runners. SA Raiders coming to the right part of the track now and cutting the corner, Conservatorium and Caracatus. They've spun wide in the last here. They fanned across the track, Conservatorium and Caracatus on the inside. Coming out after Menage, Sewa Lady, but look at SA Raider in the right part of the track, storming home. SA Raider grabs the lead now from Menage and Sewa Lady. Then came General PK from the back, but SA Raiders back in town. Caracatus storming home along the fence to get second, but SA Raider defeats Caracatus. Great go third, General PK nearest to pin and Sewa Lady. A line of 3, then Menage, It Is Written, Conservatorium, then came Couldn't Agree More, and the last one home today on Oaks Day is Esprit de Bullet. SA Raider, gee, they...
Trouble is when you're a back marker, you're depending on someone else to help you. Now, Spirit of Boom comes in. Temple of Boom's got the black cap on here. Spirit of Boom in the gold. And for land to the inside, the first to come out of the gates, although it was a good start out. Solzhenitsyn and Someday are going forward, and Temple of Boom deep going around the first corner, followed by Famous Seamus, and then comes Fire Up Fifi. Getting back on the field, River Lad and Spirit of Boom has to go back the last. They're coming down the side, and Temple of Boom, the stablemate of Spirit of Boom, is going to carve it up the Snitzerland as they go past the 800. Some days a length away in third position, 2.5 to Famous Seamus on the inside of Solzhenitsyn. Another 2 lengths further back, River Lad on the inside of Fire Up Fifi, and 2.5 to Spirit of Boom. Well, he's going to get his chance late, that horse running last. On the bend, 500 metres left to go, and Snitzerland and Temple of Boom and Someday in the middle. They came round the bend together. They're followed by Famous Seamus, Solzhenitsyn, Fire Up Fifi, and Spirit of Boom is coming to the extreme outside. Snitzerland and Temple of Boom. They led past the 200 metres mark there, 2.5 clear. Spirit of Boom running home, but it's Temple of Boom. Temple of Boom's gone to the lead from Snitzerland and Spirit of Boom. Temple of Boom in front, and it will be Temple of Boom from Spirit of Boom and a boil over. The stablemate, the roughies got up. Snitzerland has run third. They're followed by Solzhenitsyn Someday, and then Famous Seamus, River Lad, and Fire Up Fifi. Temple of Boom. The stablemate of the favourite, or the second favourite's bloused them. Wouldn't want to be one more hop. then Spirit would have got Temple. From Spirit of Boom and a boiler.
Well, dry track boom beats the wet track boom. A great result for Tony Gollan and Eureka Stud there. No knock on the win, $41.
600.
If I can get that. And that was huge. Well, that Temple of Boom.
No excuses. Tegan Harrison, she just kept working forward. And as I said, the old Schnitzeland would have just beaten off it after it did so much work. The second horse was good, but the run of the race was just a winner by 100 yards. What do you think of the winkers on Schnitzeland, Mark? They can nearly vote. They're that big.
Looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah, they're weighing down there.
Well, then it's Tegan Harrison as the Brisbane Carnival winds into full.
Wait for age. Junoob, it's going to be hard to beat, you'd think, wouldn't you? Number 6 here, 310, Nashra Willa. 10 Streamer, Blake Shin, 390. Mr. O'Kieran loves a sting out, 690. Certainly ticks plenty of boxes, Mr. O'Kieran, particularly second up, 360. Mr. O'Kieran, 7. Angel of Mercy, 850. Moria.
They're set. The gates open and they're off and racing now. Janoob came out about third last. Angel of Mercy from the inside, the first to go, and El Mantosh began well, so did Streamer. Fat Al's pretty keen to get up towards the lead. He's off early, followed by a grey assignment. Mr. O'Kieran deep, but going forward around the first corner. Janoob improving in front of Moriarty, flying home. They're followed then by getting back on the field, Military Move, and Precedence is last of all. In the flying home, led up to the bend. Grey assignment going up 3 deep. Mr. O'Kieran's just inside though. Streamer comes to the outside, and Moriarty and Janoob make their runs together into the straight on the Hollandale. And Mr. O'Kieran took the shortcut. Oh, he's dashed through and he's dashed away, Mr. O'Kieran. He's opened up by 2.5. Streamer in second position. Precedence down the outside, followed by Moriarty. Mr. O'Kieran in front. Streamer's coming after it quickly on the outside at the 100. Mr. O'Kieran tackled by Streamer, then Moriarty. Streamer on the outside's taken the lead. The mighty mare, Streamer. Streamer goes home to beat Mr. O'Kieran, and Precedence is third in front of either Moriarty or Janoob. The next home in the race behind those, Grey Assignment, followed by Fat Al, Angel of Mercy. A long way back in the field, then came Military Move, flying home, and El Mantosh is last, and the mighty mare Streamer's home. What a mare. What a mare. She's done it all. From her 2-year-old days to winning the Oaks, the Group 1 races, nosed out in Epsoms and Stradbrokes, through the very tough racing in the autumn in Sydney. And Guy Walter's been able to bring her back. And the combination of Blake Shin and Guy Walter, one of the strongest in the country today, has seen.
Lucky hung on that one. But let's start with the AD Hollandale Stakes Streamer. Always been a good mare. She won the AJC Oaks as a 3-year-old filly. She has been a little bit quiet lately, but she was back to her best yesterday.
Oh, look, she's a brilliant filly. She's been a credit to a trainer, owners. A beautiful ride by Blake yesterday, set up beautifully for that race. Just can't believe Richard put a mare like that in the kennel. I just get up on
You cheered me on when I did it. You cheered me on.
I give it to you because she does not deserve it to be anything.
Oh well, I got sick of her running missing placings, and anyway, she got
She's competed at the top level her whole career.
And that's the point here. She just dropped down that little bit, and she was too good for him. I have to say, I put her in the kennel, but she has escaped, and good luck to her too. She has been a very good mare. You can't deny her record has been very good. I just got a bit tired of her. Thought she was at the end of her tether. She stepped it up here. This track played about as well as it could. It was heavy. They all went overboard with going out wide there. You saw with Dothraki, he cut the corner and held on there. But there's a couple of runs in this I can't. Precedence was a good run. He's on target. You know, you get to go to the Brisbane Cup or something like that. That'll suit him. And Moriarty, Janoob, I'm sick of Moriarty. Janoob's still going okay.
Yeah, look, I think Mr. O'Kieran was very good there. He's got a good second up record, and he's got a sense of timing for one of these big staying races in Queensland. Janoob is much better on a drier track. I love my old mate Precedence there. You know, I have a bit of fun with him, but I love horses set for a carnival, and this is the right carnival to set a horse like him for.
Like she has been. You know, we've dragged him from year to year, but you know he's still there.
But he's won those 2 big races in the spring with Queen Elizabeth and something else.
Deep end every year trying to win Melbourne Cups. He can win Brisbane Cups.
Yeah.
This is his style of racing.
Like to own him.
Two is the South Australian Derby. There are the runners going to the start there for the SA Derby. 2,500 metres, Group 1. And Kushadazi is at $5.10, equal favourite with Scratchy Bottom. Order tab.
Boarding and Majestic Moment was up there early, and coming across from wide out was Family Pride. Favourites in front at the judge with a round to go. Order of the Sun. Family Pride going up on his outside to nearly join him. Red Nav was wide around the outside of Honey Stills Gold. Majestic Moment. Order of the Sun still a clear leader though. Led by Tudor. More rewarding now going to second. Family Pride third. Kushadazi next the inside. Going forward Honey Stills Gold deeper out. Sticking to the inside and saving ground with Scratchy Bottom. Order of the Sun still a clear leader on the bend though. Led the way by more than two. Honey Stills Gold went to second. Scratchy Bottom's got right through on the inside next. Then battling away Kushadazi as we're about to swing for home. Order of the Sun came back to them quickly. And the only filly in the race, Scratchy Bottom, raced through on the inside to take the lead from Order of the Sun, and Kushadazi going with it. Best Case joins in with Gambling Guru down the outside. Scratchy Bottom led. After it, Kushadazi. Best Case deeper out with Gambling Guru. It's Scratchy Bottom against the inside in front from Kushadazi. Best Case, Gambling Guru wider. Scratchy Bottom, Kushadazi. They go to the line. Very close. Scratchy Bottom. Tourneur thinks he's won. The outside Kushadazi. Close up Best Case with Gambling Guru. Then Lord Athenaeum. Next to finish would have been Order of the Sun from Honey Stills Gold. Bring something. Behind it, then Surging Wave. More rewarding. Family Pride. Gravitational. Excites the Lady. Red Nav. Majestic Moment. Crime Fighter last in. Look, Tourneur thinks he's won, but if you're on Kushadazi, I'd be not giving it up. This is desperately close. Desperately close. Very, very close.
Wow, that's close. Hold you.
Two. Akbar and Omission were two of the first to go. Vinny's Cognac getting back in the field back to six.
Three gets it.
Judge had a look at it. Kushadazi, Richard Jolly. So good to see a local Group 1 winner over there. Doesn't happen all that often. Kushadazi beating the filly Scratchy Bottom. Richard Jolly's first Group 1, so that's always a special moment.
Oh, for sure. And the way he set this horse up to win the Group 1, he didn't waver from his plan all the way through. He drew a bad barrier in the lead up and got a mile back, and his run was obviously eye-catching with a better barrier there on yesterday. He was beautifully ridden by Arnold. He rode him much closer in the run. He just edged to the right part of the track on straightening. Everything just went beautifully to plan.
I looked at the ride of Vlad Jurek on the favourite here in the lead, and I thought, I don't know whether he was under instructions here in the Derby or not. That horse went too hard and then tracked out 6 deep around the corner, and gee, it set it a task. Now,
he did that winning this Legend.
Yeah, but not to the same degree. Not to the same degree. Not when you're leading and you're covering ground unnecessarily out wide there as well. Thought it was tough. Vlad rides a lot of good races. I don't think that was one of them. Scratchy Bottom, Dom Tenor, I thought it was a brilliant ride. He's only gone down a lip, and people might say, oh, he shouldn't have gone up the fence there, but she wouldn't have won if he had.
Right if it would have won.
Well, I still think it was.
There's a fine line, but look, Mick Kent's a marvellous track walker, you know, so we won't. He's probably given those instructions. I think this fence is not as bad as what we think, and it near paid off. So I find it hard to be critical because I'm sure Mick would have said, let's have a go, and it nearly paid off.
That's exactly what happened, Duff and Richard. Mick Kent is a great walker of tracks. He does it every meeting that he goes to, and he spoke to Dominic Teneur about he felt that inside was still pretty good. Scratchy Bottom was very good against the boys, goes for a spell. She could come back.
Sistine Demon, the Boom Victorian, with that horror draw, 760 in favourite. Platelet, the defending champ at 820. SA Raider, the local, who has been set for this at 830. Dre Fontaine, who'll appreciate the track upgrade earlier today at 870 for Gay Waterhouse. Barbie in Miracles of Life at $8.80. Gregor's at $9.90. Underway tab at $6.50 the field. A wide open betting affair is the Goodwood. We'll take you there shortly.
For sure. Sistine Demon for, of course, Andrew Nollett, a winner here already today. Platelet trying to go back-to-back.
Goodwood and out wide Cara Caddis and Sistine Demon both out fast. Conservatorium showing speed.
So also was Sessions, and pushing through now was Classy Jack nearer the inside. Office Bearer not far away from Ready to Rip. Miracles of Life nearer the inside. Dry Fontaine in between runners. Deeper out on the track then was Platelet from Riz Is. SA Raiders a fair way back there with him as well as they run towards the turn. Pago Rock and Whitlam. Next then was Smokin' Joey. Getting right up on the inside. Unpretentious was next from Patuzzi. And on Natuzzi, I should say. And back towards the tail. Bell Sprinter, and back there with it was Cara Caddis. So they're turning. Classy Jack and Sistine Demon, the joint leaders. Miracles of Life's going through underneath them. Coming through as well was Riz Is. Conservatorium deeper out with Platelet, and then Unpretentious, which has saved a heap of ground with Bell Sprinter. In the straight now, though, and it's Miracles of Life and Riz Is together from Gregors. Out wide, Platelet joins in from Conservatorium. Platelet, is it history? Platelet goes up to take the lead. Smokin' Joey flying. Platelet gathered in by Smokin' Joey near the line. Joey's got up. Smokin' Joey has beaten Platelet. Riz is third, Gregor's fourth. Then Cara Caddis. Next, Ready to Rip from Natuzzi, Conservatorium, Bell Sprinter. Then behind those, we had Unpretentious. Next to finish would have been Sessions. Then further back, Office Bearer, SA Raider, Ready to Rip, Pago Rock, Miracles of Life, Dry Fontaine, Sistine Demon, Classy Jack and Whitlam.
Ben Mellon, first day back, Group 1 action. And, of course, he defeats a horse he won a Group 1, Goodwood on in plate that Smokin' Joey had been way below his best for some time. And that's why he got the big odds. Now look at that, Benny, back from a hip operation. Straight back in. A couple of years ago, he wore those yellow colours to victory in a Goodwood. And in fact, he looks like he's riding a touch longer too there, B. Mellon.
Which is his first Group 1 as a trainer, Smokin' Joey and Benny Mellon. First day back riding after hip surgery and wins a Group 1. And a Group 1 that he won last year on Platelet. He defeats Platelet this year.
By Smokin' Joey, bouncing back to his best form at 40-1. Ray Fewings and Claire Lindop. It was great to have Claire as a...
For Wes, and he had the faith to put me in after a long layoff, after a long layoff. And I worked the horse the other morning. He worked really well in the blinkers, travelled well, and got the right part of the track. He was never going to beat.
Finished like a rocket, didn't he, Wes? And have you had any particular problems with this horse to get him going or what?
Oh, he's always had sort of niggling problems, and those get-back horses, you need a lot of luck. And Benny rode him perfect today, and he's got a really good turn of foot, and he can really let down for a strong 600 when you ride him like that. And it was just nice to see him flying down the outside. It was great.
And big odds today, but we weren't that surprised that he won.
Oh, I was a little bit surprised. I walked the track earlier, and there's a bit of moisture in it. He generally doesn't like that, but since we put the shades on and freshened him up, and we've just recently moved property, and the place we've got like the Hilton, and he loves it there. He's got his own beach, so he really appreciates it.
Claire, apart from Smokin' Joey,
here at 40-1, so he can certainly cause an upset. There he was winning a Group 1. Who'd have thought?
Good.
40-1 yesterday.
Me, how did that happen? You had him in the kennel. That might have been how it happened.
That might have been. That might have been. Look,
it was amazing. I thought it was Kingston Town coming down the outside.
He's a mystery horse. I'm not going to speculate on how or why he does what he does, but he's a mystery horse. You cannot follow his form. What is his recent form, Ronnie?
Well, his recent form, he was beaten 7 or 8 lengths by Sistine Demon, who was in this race. In 2 of his past 3 starts, he's absolutely slaughtered Smokin' Joey. And look, he just gives himself a day off now and again, and then all of a sudden he's...
Well, here he is at the back here in the yellow cap.
It's an amazing performance.
Well, yeah, but
he's speared off in the turn.
He's had to be ridden up to keep tacking onto him. He was under pressure. He was under pressure at the back there. I think he was the first horse off the bit. But there he goes. He's checked off heels there on the corner, and
amazing win. It's an amazing win. Good luck to him.
He's just a mystery horse.
Yeah, look, Dre Fontaine. Look, the punters that backed her did their money cold. She's got a history of just hating wet tracks, and it was just sad. It was just sad to see her wheels spinning there on a wet track again. Her confidence would be shot.
Why would the punters back her?
Well, probably back. There's a lot of pre-post betting going on these big Group 1s. There's all-in betting going on, and she was one of the favourites when the market, obviously, when they found out it was a heavy to slow track, she was very easy in the market, understandably so. She just doesn't go a yard.
Got our eye on the BTC Cup Group 1 race at Doomben at the moment. Might check the market there, where Buffering is a short price favourite. He's won 3 Group 1s. Can he make it Group 1 number 4? And can he win a Group 1 in his home state? He's $1.75 for Rob Heathcote. Spirit of Boom's the second.
And they're racing. Buffering began about a half length behind them, and Tiger T's driven out of the gates, finds the lead. Temple of Boom second. Buffering is going up in the middle, and Hot Schnitzel's a little bit deep in the early part of the race. A couple then to Famous Seamus, and they're followed by Perron and Spirit of Boom's 2 off at the rear. Tiger T's in front at the 900 metres mark, 3 parts to Buffering. Hot Schnitzel had to ease to go back, then try and get in. He's going a bit keenly around that corner. Temple of Boom on the rail. A length away to Famous Seamus, 2 to Perron and 2 to Spirit of Boom. Down by the 650 metres mark, and Tiger T's the neck to Buffering. 2 lengths away, Hot Schnitzel, Temple of Boom, 4th on the fence. Then Famous Seamus, followed by Perron, and Spirit of Boom will give the leaders about 6 on the corner. 400 metres left to go. Tiger T's came round the bend. Buffering's laying down the law to him now. Temple of Boom pulled out to make his run from Hot Schnitzel, followed by Famous Seamus. Buffering coming to the 200, just the leader. Temple of Boom trying to get on terms. Famous Seamus is coming. Spirit of Boom coming late. Famous Seamus and Temple of Boom and Buffering. Spirit of Boom jumping up out of the ground. It'll be too late. Famous Seamus has beaten Spirit of Boom. Third, either Buffering or Temple of Boom from Perron, followed by Hot Schnitzel, and last home in the race is Tiger T's.
A terrific win. He came storming over the top. He defeats the Booms. Buffering doesn't run in the money. Oh, well, we actually be very close there. Looks like Temple of Boom might have just pipped it for third. Be close there for third. Hold your tickets. But Famous Seamus wins for Noel Mayfield Smith. What a story this is. And Buffering just lasts for third. Spirit of Boom charged at it. That's start number 18 for all the Booms combined, and they've never won at Doomben. Of course, ran at Eagle Farm last start, and the Victory Stakes. Before that was a...
Talk about the big one, the BTC Cup. Famous Seamus getting up at 20 to 1. It was Famous Seamus's first Group 1, and it was his jockey's first Group 1, Ryan Wiggins.
The partnership with the horse, my manager, Brad Glendenning, really good friends with Noel, and off Noel, the horse is a lot better on top of the ground, and we've seen a different horse yesterday.
All right, let's talk about the race. What did you think of Buffering, Ron?
I'm not as critical as a lot of people. Look, I think he's a control freak. Coming out of these barriers, which is a little bit of, becoming a bit of a more of a habit for him now, is a concern. Maybe he's looking for a Stradbroke distance or a little bit further than the 1200. But look, I thought he stuck on pretty well after probably being chased hard after that slow start. And Tiger T showed great intent there to lead, and he got the lead. So look, I thought he stuck on well. I'm not putting the pen through him yet. The Boom Boys, they both ran right up to their best form. And I think Perron is right on target for these mares races. She's had 2 runs back in probably unsuitable races, and she'll be ready to go next time against her own sex.
I don't know that the pace was that hot. I know Tiger T's was keen to lead, but when they got there, I don't think they went too hard, because sitting right behind them was Hot Schnitzel, and he was absolutely throwing his head, trying to go faster. So they can't have been burning along too quickly.
No.
Given that he sat outside the leader, given that he had a crack at that the leader in the straight and struggled, Spirit of Buffering, I'm just thinking he's starting to show his age a little bit. That's not a criticism of anybody or anything. Time catches up with everybody. I think he's just maybe come off his peak now, and maybe age now will let him plateau or start to slide a little bit. He used to be 3 lengths better than the Boom Boys. They seem to have caught up to him. And that's all I'm going on there, because I couldn't find any other excuse for him, unless there was one we didn't know about.
Janub, the team, the Tight Energy Services Group 1 Doomben Cup, and it's a tricky race. The favourite
run at them down the side towards the 600 metres mark. Lee Bass, 3 parts. Fat Al, a length away. Streamer on the fence. Mr. O'Kieran, 3 parts of a length away. They're followed by Floria. Here's Janub trying to circle from Moriarty. Slow pace. Angel of Mercy and Axar's on the fence as they corner. Lee Bass at the 350, the leader. Here's Streamer coming up on the outside. Floria's on the fence. Moriarty's in the clear, and Janub is starting to come down the outside to the 200 metres mark. Lee Baz joined by Streamer. Janoob next down the outside from Moriarty, but it's Streamer and Lee Baz with 100 metres left to go. Janoob running home well, but Streamer, she takes the lead. Streamer wins the Doomben Cup. Streamer from either Lee Baz or Janoob. SARS might be in the photo for fourth. He's not far away with Floria Moriarty. The next time, Mr. O'Kieran. Further back in the field, then came Fat Al, followed by Angel of Mercy, and last home in slow pace. And what a mare she is. And what a ride from Blake Shin.
We'll start with the Group 1, race number 7. She has now won 4 Group 1s in her career, a Flight Stakes, an ATC Oaks, a George Main and a Doomben Cup. Very, very good mare. And, of course, Blake Shin was on board. He rode it 2 weeks ago when she won the Holland. Yeah, look, Streamer, her form in the autumn was only fair. What do you think's brought her back to her best up there in Queensland?
Step up in distance for her and possibly maybe the blinkers and the step up in distance for her and possibly the step back in grade a little bit for her.
You showed if you're not quite sure what they're going to do, it's a lot harder to do that. And, you know, I'd like to see him, you know, perhaps just, I'm not saying get right in the field, but just settle behind a few horses. He was a little bit of a sitting shot for a very good mare there. And, you know, to run her down to a length is an excellent effort. He's a good horse in the making, I agree.
Bill, here's the tab.com.au market mover. 4 goes first up previously for 2 victories. Fixed odds trip.
Fifi and Ferment just behind them. They're followed then by Philadelphia. Then Transporter starts me up now. Philadelphia next. Transporter on the fence, followed by Starts Me Up. That's the one. And Salsa Nitson is last. They're on the bend in the last event of the day on Doomben Cup Day, and River Lad and Benny's Buttons came round the bend clear. They're 2 in front of Steel Zip, Lucky Hustler. Fire Up Fifi and now Dances on Stars is trying to chase from the back. River Lad and Benny's Button led past the 300. Steel Zip is 2 lengths away. The others can't make up the ground at the moment, and it's Benny's Buttons and River Lad. They're together with 100 metres left to go. River Lad and Benny's Buttons. River Lad's fighting back on the inside, and River Lad just beats Benny's Buttons, and Fire Up Fifi might get third. A lip in front of Dances on Stars. The next time, Typhoon Red, Steel Zip. That's the one. Starts Me Up, Philadelphia, Lucky Hustler. Further back is Ferment. A long way back.
Let's see how it goes. Now we've got the BRC Sires Produce Stakes coming up here at Doomben. This is at Group 2 level. So Brazen Bow, $2 into 185. They're not mucking around with this colt by I Am Invincible, who looks a very
good set. Oh, he's missed it. Brazen Bow, he's come out second last. Now he's going to drive through the field and try and take up some sort of a position, but he didn't jump. Time for War from the inside. The first to bound out. Let Sarah freeze the millions. Patanorde. Looks like the cat is going forward on the outside to take up some sort of a position, and Amy's out wide. That's like the cat, and 2 lengths away. Amy on the outside there of Sarah from Freeze the Millions, Patanorde. Then Haven Angel now. Brazen Bow. He's about 6 off the lead coming to the home turner. Where's pressing? It's only got about 3 behind her, but Time for War got around the home turn and scooted off here. Looks like the cat 2.5 lengths away, followed by Sarah. Now Brazen Bow is pulled to the outside, is starting to run home strongly. Time for War led past the 200 metres mark. Brazen Bow 2 lengths away, closing in, but Time for War is clear. Brazen Bow's going to run out of time, and Time for War will go home and beat Brazen Bow. Looks like the cat. Freeze the Millions fourth. The next time in the race was Careless with Mojave, Haven Angel, Furby, Sarah, Patanorde, Sagatona. Amy Powder Ted's a long way back with Stroke, and last time was Haven Angel.
Didn't take long for Ty Anglin to bounce into the winner's circle at Group.
Another 2-year-old winner for Gerald Ryan. He's had an incredible run. What can you say about Brazen Bow, though? He bungled the start there in the Sires Produce Stakes. And do you think he would have won?
I think so, yeah, considering he ended up 1 pair back than he should have been. At the same time, it could be a blessing in disguise, because here's a horse, he's just smoking his pipe going easy, he's still got a grip on him, and then he says, hello, this leader's off. So he had to get chasing instead of looking pretty, but the winner's off and gone.
Put his timing a little bit awry there. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
I reckon Brazen Bow's the best horse in this race. If you said to me you can have any of those horses in the race, I'd take him, because the way he hit the line there, it wasn't a day for doing what he did. It was a bit of a leader bias track, missing the start, getting in the wrong spot. I think he was the best horse coming out of it.
There's the market for the JJ Atkins, and obviously Brazen Bow's a solid favourite. This horse, Alma Lad, who won at Randwick yesterday, he was only having his second start. I I reckon he could be a threat. I know this is only 1,200 metres first up, and it's all happening too soon for him. But this horse is very strong. Gay can do it. She'll have him. He looked fairly fit yesterday. Look at him savage the line. So, Al, I reckon you should be looking out for this horse in Queensland. He could be a threat over the mile to Brazen Bow.
Yeah, he's move in for the Grand Prix Stakes, the traditional lead up to the Queensland Derby. Amex 320 has been pretty solid at that quote on track.
Bring back, and then Villanova followed by All Host and All Berges last. Markey leads 500 to go in the Grand Prix from Rock Centre. They're followed then by Rosie Joan, Colonel Carrera. Now Telepathic will be deep on the corner, and Amex is going to cut through near the inside. He's getting the best run of the race. Oh, he's got a glorious run through Amex. In the straight, 350 to go. Archie the leader. Amex after him. Telepathic under the whip. And look at Villanova. Villanova's come from the back. He's gone swoosho at the 200 metres mark, and he's raced away. Telepathic and Amex whacking away in second and third spot, but it's all Villanova, and he's home. Villanova, he's going to bolt in. Villanova's going to win. Rudy and Pinstripe Lane will fight out second and third, followed then by Amex fourth. The next door Burge made ground. Telepathic was too tough today. Then Bring Back Anarchy, Rosie Joan, Roxanne.
Believe my eyes. Look, he's always had potential, but he hasn't always delivered, but he certainly did yesterday.
Well, he obviously likes Queensland. I fell in love with him this time last year, and he's terrorised me ever since. But look, you have to say, this was a dominant win.
Have you got a name for him? Is he now Villain Nova?
I'll let you know after the derbies. But this is usually the form for the derby, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. And
But there's a few still losing momentum there. Pinstripe Lane and All Burge got held up coming to the turn. The filly Telepathic, Al, well, she was 3 deep, no cover the whole way. Surely that's a forgive run.
Oh, her run was outstanding. That's her in the blue and white colours running third. That's Villanova racing away. Amex in second position. You'll see Rudy get through near the fence and Pinstripe Lane out wide. The question you got to...
Looks that way, doesn't it, Bruce? Right on start time for the big Group 1, Zoom 10,000 and buffering on course 440 out to 480. Rebel Dane 480. There is money for number 10, Driefontein.
Now, and buffering began brilliantly today. He was out of the stalls in a big hurry, and Driefontein and Hot Schnitzel began quickly. And Temple of Boom's mustering some speed, but buffering. He's going to lead today in the 10,000. He leads from Driefontein. Therefore, Ria. Buffering controls the 10,000 at the 800 metres mark. He's a length over Hot Schnitzel. Temple of Boom third on the inside of Driefontein. Conservatorium out deep on the track. Spirit of Boom back behind those on the rail. Then Perron trying to go forward. They're followed by Famous Seamus, Rebel Dane picking up some ground, and they're followed by Scream Machine and Noidata's last of all. They're coming around the bend, 350 to go. Buffering heads up for home. He's kicked the length in front of Hot Schnitzel, trying to get after him, followed by Temple of Boom, Spirit of Boom getting in the clear, and here's Rebel Dane starting to hurdle down the middle of the track. Buffering joined by Temple of Boom, Spirit of Boom, and Rebel Dane down the extreme outside. Big finish. Temple of Boom and Spirit of Boom. They hit the line, and Spirit of Boom and won the 10,000 from either Temple of Boom or Buffering. Dane. The next time, Scream Machine, Noidat. Back behind the Driefontein, Hot Schnitzel, Famous Seamus, Conservatorium, and Perron has pulled up at the tail of the field, and Spirit of Boom is a Group 1 winner in the Doomben 10,000. Well, Michael Rod almost was a side cut.
Right on the line. Temple of Boom. Spirit of Boom, the winner. From a brave Temple of Boom, 630 buffering. He tried to slow them up as best as he could.
Boom got up and won the 10,000 from either Temple of Boom or buffering.
Yes, it was the Boom horses. Spirit of Boom over Temple of Boom. There was 3 Queenslanders in the race, and they ran 1, 2, and 3. One's been any better than the other?
I think the only difference between them has been their liking for the different tracks. Spirit's probably a slightly better horse on good ground, and Temple's a little bit better on rain-affected ground.
Once it got clear, he's got that great turn.
All right, we've talked about Spirit. What about some of the other runs in the race? What ran well, do you think, from a strategy point of view, maybe?
Oh, look, I think this race, firstly, was won by barriers. Inside barriers found their positions, and they've all found the fence there. I thought Rebel Dane had the most to do in this race. He was dragged back from barrier 10. He over-raced when they got their rest up front. Horses with the soft runs who had the barriers, everything fell into place for them, and the 2 Booms were perfectly ridden here, and they got all the breaks on the day.
I think you're exactly right there. There's Bossy just sort of let him coast the line. He's been beaten 3/4 of a length. And if he'd have drawn an inside gate, he'd been right there in the finish with him. So I thought his run was excellent as well. So I guess we're always evaluating. I thought his run was excellent as well. So probably the best run outside the winners. But buffering, I guess we're always evaluating. I think he's plateaued off in his old age, and he's probably on the decline now, because he used to have the wood on the Boom Brothers, but now they seem to have the wood on him. And look, he's still going to be competitive for us this morning.
At Eagle Farm, the Eagle Farm Cup. This is a Group 2 race, $250,000, formerly the O'Shea Stakes. They are heading out. So Axar at 220, a clear-cut favourite. Moriarty at 435.90.
Third and Furia next on the outside. Now Axar will be fifth on the fence coming up to the home turn and getting a fair run at this point, followed by Lauren Tate and Perfect Starters last as they come around the bend. Wistful's had all the favours, came into the straight at the 400. Mr. Kieran's in hot pursuit. Moriarty's back on the inside. Flory about to make a sprint. Axar's trying to quicken, and then Lauren Tate. Wistful still in front at the 200 metres mark. Mr. Kieran just about on turns. Moriarty's about to split the pair and dive through, and at the 100 metres mark, Moriarty dash through, hit the front from Mr. Kieran, and then Floria, but it's Moriarty in front, driving away. Moriarty from Mr. O'Kieran, tight for third. Floria all Wistful. Axar, he didn't finish it off, followed by Lauren Tate, and Perfect starts back last. Stand by for the numbers. Number 1, Moriarty.
There in Brisbane. He won the Brisbane Cup last year in pretty good company during the Sydney Autumn and a few of the weight for age races up there in Brisbane.
I think I had him in the kennel. And I'll tell you what, it's genius from Chris Waller. He sent it up there. He's found, a small field of budding hurdlers, and he's sent it around. And you're a bit harsh. That was an awful race. And it often is.
At Queensland, the Sky Racing Queensland Guineas, a Group 2 race over 1,400 metres worth $350,000. They're loading very quickly. Dothraki is the $5 favourite. It is $5 the field, a wide open race just ahead of Havana for Port.
They're racing in the Guineas. Dothraki near the inside, one of the first to go. Olympic Anthem began quickly. Rikers going for speed. So is Havana, Longmar and Liberty's Choice and Safeguard. Just be 2 lengths away in the field came Some Moments. Worth play in the middle. Agadir's a little bit wide from Costa Viva. It's also deep, followed by Longmar into the red. Splendora, Badiga Negra, Palmyra Lad, and Lee Vella's last. On the bend, 500 to go in the Guineas. Riker came round the bend. Here's Havana moving up on the outside. So too Safeguard. Liberty's Choice, Dothraki, Olympic Anthem, followed by Jazz Song, Agadir further back, Quest for Peace and Costa Viva. They come to the 200 metres mark, and Riker the leader. Dothraki's getting off the fence. Liberty's Choice is still there from Safeguard and Olympic Anthem, but Riker is still the leader with 100 metres left to go. Liberty's Choice, look at Jazz Song starting to absolutely motor down the outside. Horses everywhere. Oh, dear. Liberty's Choice, Some Moments got home, Jazz Song, Olympic Anthem, Riker. They're all across the track. Palmyra Lad just in behind those. Then was Safeguard, Splendora, followed then by Dothraki, Costa Viva. Further back behind them, Longmar, Havana, Agadir into the red. Quest for Peace, Lavelle, Fatiga Negra. Oh, what a finish.
Oh, it's so close. Maybe with Sir Moments looks like it will get there. Liberty's Choice maybe second. It is closely storming down the outside just ahead of 4 Liberty's Choice, 8 Riker, the Albury Guineas winner, nearly led the
purchased by Jamie Walter, who of course lost his brother Guy Walter just a week ago. Look at it, where that horse is positioned.
Yeah, look, a fantastic result for Jamie and everyone concerned, and another lovely ride by Tim. And look, this horse, I think he just shows up the bias of Doomben, where he got back in the field. And look, so does another horse in the race, Olympic Anthem, who was at Doomben as well. And certainly, it shows that the fairness and the bigger track of Eagle Farm.
Yeah, look, it's a blanket finish. What a terrific finish this was. And probably the most unlucky horse, if he hadn't have won, would have been the winner, because he...
Terai at...
Well, they're the scenes from Eagle Farm Group 1 racing, and that is the Queensland Oaks with the short price favourite, Sydney, trained by David Van Dyke in Arabian Gold in the famous colours of Nick Moratis of Might and Power fame.
Arabian Gold is back about 8th on the fence, and Shin just biding his time. They're followed by Tito's Sister Zeus, Paris Match, Ring the Bell, Hera. Then comes Star Fashion, Terai, Every Faith and Rock Diva, Asada, Sky, Tay and Snapcrackle. They're going to the 600 metres mark. Tornado misled. Raunchy Rocker. Sonser on the outside as they come to the bend. Here's Catulan peeling out 4 deep on the point of the corner. And Arabian Gold is starting the track into the race quickly as they corner. 400 metres left to go. Tornado Miss joined by Raunchy Rocker. Arabian Gold split horses. Turlin next on the outside, and Tinto was running home to the 200 metres mark. Arabian Gold, Raunchy Rocker, Tornado Miss on the fence, Tinto on the outside, and it's Tinto and Arabian Gold. They've come away at the 100 metres mark. Sister Zeus is coming late, but Tinto has rushed to the lead, and Tinto draws away, beats Arabian Gold and Sister Zeus. Rock Diva, beautiful run, huge run, 4th from Paris Match. The next Star Fashion, Every Faith and Terai. The next time in the race, Tornado Miss, Asada Skyate. It's Tim Bell's day.
Well, Tim Bell wins and Tinto turns the table on Arabian Gold. Runner-up
by Red Dazzler, and that was Red Dazzler's first Group 1 winner. And the winning jockey and winning trainer are
You bear in mind, I mean, Arabian Gold, well, I wasn't overly confident it'd run the 2400 out, and it's run second to us. So just how strong the Queensland Oaks is over 2400 remains to be seen. But this filly will be very good over 2,000 metres anyway.
What about Arabian Gold, Ron? I read this morning that she won't be running in any races over 2,000 metres again.
I think David Van Dyke has done a sensational job with that filly. He brought her through Sydney and he went to Brisbane. He got a few results, and it was always going to be a query whether she'd run 2,400. And it was simple. She didn't. She pulled up lane behind, I read in the steward's report. So maybe that's some little excuse. But here you say it's all over. But what a tough filly this winner is, because she was under pressure, and Tim had confidence in her. He knew that he could make a long run on her, and he was proven 100% correct. Look at this filly from the back here, Rock Diva. Her performance to run 4th there was amazing. She got too far back, and with a barrier would have nearly won that race.
I hear the quaddy will be big because there were some early big dividends there. Bonetta is the $4.60 favourite for Graham Begg and Kerry.
They go to the 600 metres mark. It's Belltone just in front of Elmer's Fury, and Black Cash made a line of 3. Schnitzel's 4th on the inside, and Sacred Stars poised outside him. Here's Masthead trying to pick up ground from Dancers on Stars. Into the straight to the 400. Belltone, Elmer's Fury, Black Cash led. Sacred Star pulled out to make his run now, followed by Hot Schnitzel, and Masthead and Bonetta's coming down the outside to the 200 metres mark, and Black Cash the leader. Sacred Stars on terms. They're followed by Masthead. Architects coming from the back. Sacred Star and Black Cash from Masthead. Sacred Star takes the lead close to home, and it will fall in. Sacred Star from Masthead and Bonetta. A photo 4th, still Zip Prominent. Architect was there from Black Cash the next home. Elmer's Fury, doubtfully Lucky Hustler.
Scratch because he'd already made the field, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk more about Dominic Tenur.
But for the punters, it was good to watch, and even better when the favourite got home. Here's the market for the JJ Atkins and Brazen Bow. Chrissy Waller, a winner in Sydney. He's had a winner in Melbourne. He's chasing a Group 1 victory in Brisbane. Gay Waterhouse has got Alma Lad here. Looks the cat.
Racing now. Pressing didn't begin that flash. He's back in the second half of the field. And Time for War from the inside. The first to go, and Brazen Bow began brilliantly today. Almalad is going up on the outside, and so too is Stroke. And when they settle down, it's Almalad on the outside at Time for War. They led 2 to Stroke, and Brazen Bow straight to the box seat. 4th on the Tagatona is last. On the bend, 500 metres to go. Time for War and Almalad came round the bend. 2.5 Brazen Bow and Stroke. Careless is next on the outside as they come around the corner. And Pressing's now pulled out to make its run, and looks like the Cat is next. Time for Law led 300 metres to go. Almalad, and here's Brazen Bow splitting them in the middle now. They're followed by Careless, and Pressing is next and Furbish, but Brazen Bow went to the lead inside the 200 metres mark. Almalad's having another dip at him on the outside. Looks like the Cat trying to get out. Almalad and Brazen Bow together. Almalad and Brazen Bow, they come to the line, and Almalad has won it from Brazen Bow, and looks like the Cat. Pressing will be 4th in front of Careless, and the next Time for War, followed by Furbish, Mojave, Stroke, Emotions and Motions, and Sagatona has pulled up at the tail of the field.
Look at Tommy. Loves it again. Good on you, Tommy. 3 for the day. Goes back-to-back in this race. She won it with Romantic Touch last year for Nash Rilla. Nash every possible on the runner-up this year for Chris Waller. With
Bowen looks like the cat.
Yes, it was nice to have Tommy Berry back in town, back in Australia. That was his first meeting at Eagle Farm yesterday, and he landed a Group 1. Al Malad. Alan, that youngster was only having his 3rd start in a race, so I think it's pretty fair to say that he's got a very bright future.
He certainly has. He's got plenty of ticket because Brazen Bow had him cold with a furlong pole. Almalad came around the corner awkwardly. He raced outside the lead of Brazen Bow. Box seated on the fence. He went up, hit the lead. And the other horse outgunned him, outfought him to the line.
One's over the Brisbane Winter Carnival. This was an amazing performance. He fired him out of the barrier. He over-raced. He hung. He did everything wrong. He looked beaten. He rallied. He was 1,200 to a mile. He's a serious spring prospect. The second horse, Brazen Bow, is a serious sprinter. He belied his pedigree even running in this mile race. He's going to be a force in the spring as well, believe me. He's a serious very good 3-year-old sprinting horse and trained like a sprinter. He'll react. And I'm not there yet, and he's got a future as well. Very strong race, I'd say.
I agree. It's the one race over the Carnival I think you can look at and say there's some future there. I think
Derby-wise in Queensland. Here's the Derby. Of course, can this marvellous run of Tommy Berry's continue? He's on elusive runner. Chris Waller's got Villanova, $5 favourite in front of Pinstripe Lane. It was Troy Court.
And Rock Diva both began well out past the centre of the line. Elusive runner off the inside was quickly into stride, and Bring Back and Sontag. And Pinstripe Lane is going forward, but our Uncle Archie and Rudy is coming down the outside. And when they get to the post the first time, it's Rudy coming across from the wide gate to lead Sontag and Pinstripe Lane and Take Wing. Corner 1,100 metres to go. Rudy in front, 3 past the Pinstripe Lane. Take Wing third on the fence, and Sontag is 4th. They're followed then by Elusive Runner, sneaking pulled up. They're on the turn in the Derby, 500 metres to go. Rudy came around the bend just in front of Pinstripe Lane, which went to it quickly. Sontag on the outside from Take Wing. Rock Diva, Elusive Runner's in the clear at the right time, and Bring Back is trying to come with it, and Outstrips dashing through near the fence. Pinstripe Lane led, 300 metres to go. Sontag, Elusive Runner, Bring Back. Here's Villanova appearing on the scene, and Telepathic down the outside. Pinstripe Lane and Sontag. Villanova on the outside trying to get to them, but Sontag in the middle's taking a narrow lead close to home, and Sontag will win the Derby from Pinstripe Lane. Photo third, Villanova. 4 Rock Diva from Amex, Bring Back, Elusive Runner, Take Wing, Pop and Scotch, Granados, Telepathic. Behind those, Outstrip, Happy as Hell, Meteorologist, Colonel Carrera, or Burge a long way back, and they're followed then by Rudy, who's back next to last, and Colonel Carrera's basically failed to.
His first Group 1 as a trainer, with Sontag defeating Troy Corsons in his first group.
Now, this is a former Darley horse. How did he come to be with you?
Matt, we purchased him through an English mixed trial sale. We paid $58,000 plus GST, and he came to us in great condition. He'd had 3 starts with Darley, but only it's realistically he second tier, third tier stayer. He certainly stays, and he was strong at the end of it yesterday. So a race like in the spring, we're not going to get there, but maybe for future would be the Sandown Classic or something like that. It's worth good money, or Zipping Classic, worth good money, but that's probably those end of the spring carnival stage.
Market, and then we'll bring you up to speed with what's happening. The Stradbroke, there it is, the market for the Stradbroke. $8 Red Tracer, A50 Spirit of Boom. Put them into market order. And the 3-year-olds lead them off here. $6 each of 2, Hucklebuck and Sracandy. Red Tracer, Noidart, and Spirit of Boom. You know the
Broken Hucklebuck near the inside. The first to go, Sracandy began brilliantly from an outside gate, and she's going to come over and she's going to lead. On settling down, Sracandy led Hucklebuck. He's fired up on the inside. Temple of Boom going up from Conservatorium. Emblems just behind those. River Lad a little bit deep going round the first corner. They're followed then by Spirit of Boom, Belltone, followed then by Scorpio Queen, Reparations midfield. Then Famous Seamus, Noidart, Lucky Hustler, Sacred Stars getting a long way back on the field. So is Red Tracer, Rebel Dane, third last from Valrosso, and last of all, Smoke and Joey. 700 metres left to go. River Lad on the outside and Temple of Boom. They led together from Conservatorium. Spirit of Boom's gone up 4th. Sracandy is 5th on the rails. They're followed by Emblem, Scorpio Queen, Hucklebuck on the fence. Then Noidart, Reparations, Belltone, Famous Seamus, Sacred Star is next, and Rebel Dane is going to come to the extreme outside. It's Temple of Boom Boom and River Lad at the 400. Candy easing off their heels now and about to sprint. Spirit of Boom trying to go with it. Hucklebucks behind those, and then Scorpio Queen and Rebel Dane down the outside. Temple of Boom, River Lad, Candy and Spirit of Boom on the outside. Temple of Boom and River Lad, they might fight it out. River Lad, Temple of Boom, they hit the line. River Lad won the strap break from Temple of Boom. Candy will be third in front of either Spirit of Boom, Hucklebuck, Sacred Star, Rebel Danes close up, Smoke and Joey, Red Tracer. They're followed by Emblems, Famous Seamus, Beltone, Reparation, Scorpio Queen. Back behind those, a long way back, Conservatorium. Rebel Danes up with that bunch. Noi Dart followed by Valrosso. And last time in the race is Lucky Hustler.
Well, what a day for trainers. Firstly, Henry Dwyer, a Group 1 derby, but what about this? The richest race in Queensland, and Natalie McCall comes from a great racing family on the Sunshine Coast, and she gets D. Oliver, who only got the ride off the back of a decision by Timmy Bell not to ride it. He wanted to ride Sacred Star.
Those barriers came out. There was a lot of alarm bells ringing, but look at the result in the Stratty and where they started from. River Lad 15, Temple of Boom 14, Candy 13.
There you go.
So
I always have a giggle
it's
at
not
the
the end of
barrier
the world.
draws. Particularly the Melbourne Cup barrier draw always makes me laugh. They all wring their hands and tear their hair out, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It only matters after the gates open, not before.
In fact, for a Stradbroke, it was an absolute farce, really. The speed of the race. Look, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
They settled 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in Stradbrokes as a rule. There was a lot of ill-judged rides here, in my opinion.
What about
Look, there was 2 enormous runs in this race, considering the makeup of the race. One was Rebel Dane, and the other one was definitely the Kiwi Sacred Star, because they were back in the ruck. And maybe Smoke and Joey to a certain extent as well, ducking back to the inside from way back in the field.
They failed to make ground, where it really was noticeable. Between the home turn and the 200-metre mark, none of those back markers could get themselves into it. They closed a little bit late.
The result tells you the tail of the race.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, settled 1, 2, 3, and they've singled out.
Yep.
It's amazing.
The day here to send us home happy. Well, let's hope so. Akavoran. Moriarty for CJ Waller having another good day. Zephyron's your favourite though. Bossy off. Mr. O'Kieran on the Zephyron. Precedence, who's been around in a few Brisbane Cups, and Moriarty won it last year.
Historian from the inside was one of the first to come out of the gates, and Sky So Blue began okay. Moriarty and Zanista are trying to go forward in the early part, and Floria's going to take up a position. Pretty Pins back behind them, followed by Zephyron coming over from his wide gate, then Precedence and Rayburn and Felamonte coming to the line the first, which coming down the side of the track is Sky So Blue on the inside at the 800 with Mr. O'Kieran. There's 6 in front. Zanista's in third position. 2 lengths away, Historian. Pretty Pins on the fence. Floria going forward. Now Moriarty's going to get onto Floria's back to get the card into the race here. Zephyron's trying to scoot through in between horses and take the shortcut. Precedence trying to follow him through. And then Rayburn and Felamonte. But Mr. O'Kieran dashed away at the top of the straight. He's 3 Sky So Blue. Here's Floria, and now Moriarty's on the scene. And Zephyron is trying to go with him, and Precedence on the fence. Floria led at the 200 metres mark. Moriarty's in hot pursuit. Zephyron's a length away, but Floria still the leader with 100 metres left to go. Moriarty a half length away, getting closer. Floria still the leader. He's running off the track, and Moriarty can't get there. And Floria's going to win the Brisbane Cup from Moriarty and Zephyron. Photo fourth, not much between Mr. O'Kieran or Pretty Pins. Precedence couldn't run home today. The next time in the race, Rayburn, followed by Zanista. Sky So Blue, Felamonte, and Historian has pulled up at the tail of the field.
Well, it's Floria and Kieran McAvoy giving Peter Moody a second win in his second hometown, Brisbane Cup.
A home turn. I thought when Moriarty got on the back of Floria approaching the corner, and you'll see that then Zephyron got on the back of Moriarty. I thought, well, Zephyron and Moriarty, the two. There's Floria running in fourth position with the red cap. Moriarty's on its back, and Zephyron then starts to slice through in the blue. I thought at the top of the straight, you knew Mr. O'Kieran would probably come back to them. At this stage, I probably thought Moriarty was the horse, but Floria just outstayed him fairly and squarely.
I love handicaps for this reason. There was a turnaround in the weights, and weights make a big difference when there's pace on.
And there clearly was pace on in that race because they've run the race record. And Moriarty he couldn't do what he did last start where there was no pace on. He carried the big weight and he could accelerate better than those other horses. Once he had to carry that big weight for the full journey at pace, then it told on him and he just couldn't pick Floria up. So I think just a perfect example of what handicap racing is all about.
Yeah, I think the horse to follow.
Back to back after doing it last year at 7:30. Steps in time for Joe Pryor, Jim Cassidy at 9:50. Larry Olsen's late mail numbers there 14, 4, 3 and 1. He's gone the way of Cosmic Endeavour.
Racing Tattersalls Tiara, 1,400 metres the distance at Group 1 level. They are set to go. They're ready. And they're racing now, and Steps in time from barrier 2, bounded out of the gates and was the early leader. Near the inside, Catkins away well. They're followed by Jazz Song coming over quickly and Driefontein. They're the first four as they go through the first 200. Red Tracers coming over from a wide gate, getting in one off the fence. Platinum Rocker deep going to the first corner. Cosmic Endeavour back on the inside from Avoid Lightning. They're followed leaders Mark and Steps in time as the leader. 3 past the Jazz Song. Platinum Rocker 3 deep outside the speed. Catkins getting a lovely run fourth on the fence. Driefontein is 5th. The next pair, Cosmic Endeavour on the inside of Red Tracer. A gap to Scorpio Queen, Avoid Lightning. Perron, Myra Mira, She's Clean. Followed then by Gig Lonspresso. And then comes Costa Viva, Angel of Mercy to the 400 metres and Steps in time as the leader. A length over Jazz Song, Platinum Rocker, Catkins. Cosmic Endeavour's about to get in the clear. Red Tracer and Avoid Lightning coming down the outside. Steps in time led at the 200 metres mark. Jazz Song, here's Cosmic Endeavour and Avoid Lightning is coming quickly down the outside. Cosmic Endeavour has raced up with Avoid Lightning. Angel of Mercy is jumping up out of the ground. Cosmic Endeavour from either Angel of Mercy or Avoid Lightning from Catkins. The next time Steps in time, Costa Viva, Gig, Red Tracer is back and behind those, and they're followed then by Lonspresso, Scorpio Queen, She's Clean, Myra Mira, Driefontein, Jazz Song, Perron and Platinum Rocker. Cosmic Endeavour, Tommy Berry and Gay Waterhouse win the Tatts Tiara.
For the gap to open, and she deserved it, that filly. She was dominant in the Dane Ripper at Group 2 level a fortnight ago. She just continues to take the next step, and she's...
That was the big one, Cosmic Endeavour. Gay Waterhouse and Tommy Berry. Cosmic Endeavour's now on the Scone Guineas, Dane Ripper and Tatts Tiara, all in succession. By the way, just on the Group 1 standings, that was Gay Waterhouse's 7th Group 1 for the season and Tommy Berry's 8th Group 1 for the season. He's won 4 in Australia and he's also won 4 internationally. So it's been a big season for them once again, both Gay and Tommy.
Yeah, definitely. And what a filly this is. She's been through everything. She's been through the autumn in Sydney and had a really hard runs now. And the key to her is dry tracks. Even though she's performed on wet tracks, she's just been so lethal on dry tracks and proved herself at the top of the Group 1 level there yesterday.
Yeah, she's won 4 out of her last 5 now, and as you said, her last 3 on end, and they've improved each run. And she's right at the top of the game at the moment. Where she goes from here into the spring, it will be an interesting test. I think she's well and truly up to mixing it with the top mares, but be aware, it will be a big jump. Those mares, the really good mares, when they come back in the spring in prime condition, will be harder to beat than they were yesterday. But, gee, she can't do anything else but win. And Tommy gave her a peach. Absolute peach of a ride here. He sat her in the right spot. He waited to come out. He got the brakes when he needed them. And without that peach of a ride, she might have got rolled over by Angel of Mercy or even Avoid Lightning. Angel of Mercy got so far back. I know she races that way, but geez, it's hard to win like that. And I thought, just a little bit more pace or a little bit closer in running, and she possibly would have won yesterday. So I have to give the ride to Tommy. He got it all right.
By the run and probably goes for a spell now. Red Tracer has run her last race. Chris Waller has told me that they've been very proud of her, but the connections, along with Chris, have decided to send her to the breeding barn. Catkins just missing that run a fortnight ago. Chris felt that may have just taken that last little bit, just didn't quite finish it off. Angel of...
No, just a little bit more pace or a little bit closer in running, and she possibly would have won yesterday. So I have to give the ride to Tommy. He got it all right.
He did.
Was elated by the run and probably goes for a spell now. Red Tracer has run her last race. Chris Waller has told me that they've been very proud of her, but the connections, along with Chris, have decided to send her to the breeding barn. Catkins just missing that run a fortnight ago. Chris felt that may have just taken that last little bit, just didn't quite finish it off. Angel